actually got lost money, not the 7 points Hungary.
Oh, no, nothing pissed me off more last season than them trying to gaslight us about the 7 points in Monza and that the fucking whatever it was in Hungary.
It was 7 in Hungary. It was 3 at Monza.
Right. And when I'm like, you know what I think is going to be more harmful to Lando's world? Like, how about we talk about the fact that he loses out.
Simply not good enough.
How about we talk about the fact that he gets overtaken on lap 1 every single time? Like, that feels more relevant to the championship fight than. Also, oh my god, I was not boring. Lewis coming from the back when he pitted early was fun. There were so many fun elements to this race.
I think you're just taking a big out of Mercedes work up that 5 minutes before.
Listen, an easy way to win me over is to have Nico Rosberg on the broadcast. I've always said that. Lando does hate to see it.
You should have just had him stay in the booth. You brought him all the way up there.
I will say, I think that during the race, just because of the nature of F1 and how fast-paced it is and how there's so much going on at all times and so much information to process, that 2 people is the right amount of people. Like, I almost feel like 3 people works a little bit better in, like, football and baseball when there's more downtime, you know?
Well, maybe if Nico had been in the broadcast booth, they would have noticed that Max gained a second on Charles with no explanation for more than a lap. When Brundle's like, no, nothing's happening. Max isn't gaining.
Well, nothing was happening. They were fluctuating between like 2.5 and 3.5 seconds away from each other for like 30 laps, and nothing happened ultimately.
And then it falls from like 2.5 to 1.5, and Brundle doesn't fucking notice for like 2 laps, and then they never understood what happened to Lando right away. Now that could be a TV direction. Now TV direction this weekend has been
it was kind of abysmal. It has been fairly abysmal recently. Like that whole thing with Charles last week where they were like, oh, Charles went off, and they just didn't show him getting hit by Carlos Sainz.
Or just showing any of that in Silverstone. That was insane. Not showing Albon across like any part of Albon's lap yesterday. We saw the of Lando's cooldown and not any of the people actually setting laps.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them this year. It has been a little bit off compared to previous years, I would say.
The conspiracy theory is that there's a new head of race direction that just hates the entire concept of midfield cars. And therefore refuses to show them. But then they fucking sat on Kimi Antonelli, like trying to pass Ocon for like 12 laps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they didn't show like any of the Lewis and Alex Albon battle, which is hilarious and also of increased importance because anytime Alex Albon is sweating anytime Lewis Hamilton is in his rear view. I love Lewis, but for some reason.
I mean, yeah, no.
There has been a lot of garage shots. Someone said they keep showing family and celebrities more than the midfield. There has been a lot. I do think that there's been an increase in garage footage this year.
I will say, like, I fully respect it. I'm glad they did it, but can we do a better job of like integrating the garage shots?
No, I actually like it when they don't talk about them, if I'm honest, because I don't want.
Okay, but like, why didn't you like talk about Pierre Gasly's race and then cut to Antoine and Gasly's mom in what I'm assuming was the Alpine garage together, as opposed to just like randomly forcing Crofty to do we remember Antoine thing in the middle of like a random sentence.
That's true. Well, for that circumstance, yes, I agreed because I think that situation should be handled with like perhaps more tact. But I don't want Crofty and Brundle commenting on women at all. I love them, but that's why I don't want it because those are dangerous waters for them.
So what you're saying is you do not want them? You do not want a live game of Fuck, Marry, Kill with the Wags?
No. No, I do not trust Crofty and Brundle to handle that conversation respectfully for a motherfucking second. The way they torture Lewis about Nico is like, I mean, torture Nico about Lewis is already crazy, but that's fine because it's like not real. You know what I mean? Like,
do we want to just start with Nico falling for the world's most obvious trap?
He walked like a rat in a glue trap. He walked right into that. Hang on, I have to block someone for telling me to put on some clothes. Block. Anyway, I will not be doing that. It's 110 degrees out. Actually, eat shit. Sorry, continue.
Trying not to use my fan, but like if you hear a noise behind me.
Oh, normally I turn off the AC when I'm recording. And that's not happening. I'm so sorry. It's because I have such high ceilings, which I normally love, but when it's like really, really hot out, the air conditioner just struggles to keep up. But Nico Rosberg, when the minute he said, okay, because he was trying to he was trying to tease Toto for being obsessed with Horner, which is something we gloss over too quickly, like, because it became not fun once Horner was like a weirdo. But the fact that Toto Wolff on 3 separate occasions either directly or indirectly said that he has a photo of Christian Horner hanging up somewhere in his home and or office so that he can visualize his enemy is one of the funnier F1 like tidbits of all time. Like, what do you mean by what? But so that's where he was going with it. But the minute he said the Prost and Senna thing, I was like, oh no, Nico, you have to know what's coming. Oh.
And then it's next door neighbors, and he's like, "Well, no, we live in the same building." And I'm like, "Oh, I know, we're done." Because Nico has to correct that. Nico can't just close enough.
He psychologically cannot not correct an incorrect statement, which is me too, bestie. Like, I'm right there with him, but it is very funny because it's like it is clearly compulsive, but also like. I will say I'm happy they brought that up too, because that is one of, I feel, the crazier like subplots of their lore is like at any point in the story when you're like watching or listening to or thinking about this story, you have to remember that they live in the same apartment building, and those apartment buildings in Monaco like aren't that big. Like, it's not, the massive New York City skyscrapers. Like, they're like, they are neighbors, you know what I mean? Because to me, neighbors doesn't mean necessarily you're directly next to each other. It's someone that lives in your neighborhood, right? And so I'm like, oh, like the fact that neither of them have moved from that building in 20 years is wild, especially because Nico had 2 kids. So presumably they had to move apartments,
Yeah. No, it's absolutely fucking, it's absolutely mental.
Him describing their relationship as a very nice, neutral relationship, that's giving poll tested. It's giving focus groups. It's amazing. It was so normal.
It's given this was like the like hashed out the wording in the elevator of like, what can we say about this?
That's why I'm like, I hate so much the take of like Nico Rosberg is like the like desperately clinging on to relevance by talking about Lewis all the time, when I'm like, because that's so much less funny than what's actually happening. That's so much less funny than what's actually happening, which is that like both of them so very clearly do not want to talk about this, and they just went about it in wildly different ways. And seeing Nico Rosberg, who has never been normal about anything in his entire life, try so hard, too hard, to act normal and talk about Lewis normally is so funny.
And the thing is that, like, Nico just makes a very reasonable point about, Prost and Senna. They realized they needed each other more than, like, they did. Then they come back to him with the, like, racing question of, like, does it need a little bit more for you that your one championship was against Lewis.
And he had a good answer. He was so neutral on that. He was like, of course.
Yeah, because
It's also Lewis Hamilton. Like, duh. Like, of course you'd rather beat Lewis Hamilton than fucking Lance Stroll. Like, where?
Yeah, like, let's be clear. Nico's championship is cooler, better, and not to do like legitimacy discourse, but like way more legit than Jensen beating Rubens Barrichello and a bunch of children.
Not the random Rubens Barrichello ricochet shot. I know. It's just
Weber and Rubens Barrichello and the McLaren wasn't even really that good that year, and Seb was like a year away, and
no, it's true. I will say
came second that year. Somebody in the chat tell me who. Am I forgetting somebody?
I will say I think Seb. Pretty sure.
I mean maybe, but like it was
maybe Mark,
like,
but I think it was Seb. It was kind of like a foreshadowing of what would happen in 2010, and that like Mark was very much the guy, and then Seb made like a kind of a crazy last minute run, but Jensen was he just ran out of road. But I mean, Seb, not Jensen. I will say though, and I always defend Jensen on this, is like you can say his I mean, obviously, yes. In terms of like the in isolation, that WDC battle itself, Nico's is way cooler, more interesting, more iconic than Jensen's. Because of the objectively insane backstory that if you made it into a sports movie, people like wouldn't believe that it was. They'd be like, "This is too much." But also in terms of just that year in isolation, like obviously beating Lewis Hamilton is a little bit harder than beating Rubens Barrichello. But Jensen also got very unlucky in terms of going to McLaren mid flop era. He also performed really well against Lewis in that McLaren, but like he just wasn't there at the right time, really. And so like I do think that's one of my main arguments for like I don't really believe in luck, because it all evens out in the end. Like Jensen got very unlucky.
Deserves one WDC, whether it's 09 or like 2011, you know.
Exactly.
2011, the year that he destroyed Lewis.
Yeah. Lewis was, but also like I don't count that as legitimate of a beating Lewis as during a championship battle, because Lewis was having a little bit of a moment he was doing the Max thing of my car isn't good enough to win, so I'm going to drive like an absolute maniac to try to make that happen. And to his credit, he did, and it was pretty cool several times. But when you take that strategy, there are also it goes awry in rather spectacular fashion sometimes. He also had to crash into Michael Schumacher. He was legally contractually obligated. They were legally contractually obligated to crash into each other every single time they came within 10 feet of each other on the track. So he had that going on. There was a lot going on in the Lewis Hamilton verse at that time.
Yeah, no, but it's just like, you know, and then they just tee him up for, you know, then they just, you know, you two are still neighbors, right? And he just
can't help himself.
He can't stop himself.
I think that Nico
being like, I've got somebody texted me this photo of the two of us.
Okay, that part with Nico, and then sometimes I ride so hard on the Nico Rosberg is normal train, and then sometimes I just okay, Nico, I love it, and I will say this: the fact that he was riding behind Lewis in his jet ski story, and then to share that photo. I'm not going to say it because it's impolite to speculate on people's bedroom activities publicly, but I know what you are, Nico Rosberg. And that is a bottom. And I respect that. Okay. I love that for you in this life. I think the world needs more straight male bottoms. Okay. But it does. That's a real belief that I hold. But also him being like, he just like, I do think that he was given a truth serum at birth by accident, and that like he just cannot help but say I think but it really comes down to like he's for the content, and I respect that. Like when that Monaco vlog with that video of him falling off the scooter at the end, like that's objectively embarrassing. Like he didn't have to include that, but he's an artist, and we should all thank him for that.
Or the Barcelona track guide where he just where he just has the video of him and Lewis crashing each other out, and then goes, I don't know that corner very well. Let's head to the next. Like, this man is for the content, and this man
he is
willing to take the piss out of himself. So.
This is a man who, in 2012, in December 2012, got on Google.com and said local bull riding arenas. Went to the bull riding arena with nothing but a camera, iMovie, and a dream, and made a video about riding the bull, so as a metaphor for being ready to take on Red Bull in 2013, and also pretty much implying that he was going to ride Mark Webber and or Sebastian Vettel. That's personally my favorite part of the video. There are 3 separate hat changes in that 2-minute video. He's Troy Bolton. Like, he was born to be like a hot girl vlogging sensation and forced to be a really, really good Formula One driver.
Oh my God. Can we talk about, did you, before you turned it off, did you listen to Crofty and Brundle do the, if you raced a flawless race, he could have been in DRS on the final lap. If. Like, they're not doing the nor if people any good. Like,
okay,
what on earth was all this? Like, well, he could have been close if he didn't make all these mistakes. Yeah, you mean if he didn't suck ass?
See, I viewed that less as nor if and more them actually harping on Lando's mistakes like they would any other driver competing for a championship. I was actually kind of floored by it.
Okay, fine. I'll give you that.
Because normally they would gloss right over that. Like, they wouldn't mention like Lando making mistakes. No, and that's the main thing about the sorry, someone said who was the insurance underwriter.
Nico's bull riding expedition.
That's the craziest part. Like, girl, what if you got like bull riding is people break limbs like very frequently doing that. Like, it's incredibly common. Like, what if you have to get in a car in like 2 months? Like, what if you got hurt? Like, what if that bull stepped on you and like broke a serious bone? Like,
do we think that Nico had to call Ross Braun? Ross Braun was still around in 2013, right?
Yes. No, yeah, but he wasn't. He was still.
Be like, yo, I'm riding the bulls.
I don't think he told. I mean, maybe. I think he would tell Toto. I think that's who at that point had.
I think Toto was still at Williams at that time.
Was he? I thought Toto came in 20. Oh, maybe he was just fresh there because I thought he came in 2013, but maybe.
Yeah, no, but I just want to know, whoever, did he just call them and be like, "Yo, I'm going"?
There's no way he got permission because
no normal F1 team would ever get permission for that.
Right. They would be absolutely fucking. They don't even let them skydive or ski sometimes. You think they're gonna let them riding a bull is crazy. In general, I think that's up there with the people. To me, it's worse. But even then, the people that run with the bulls in Spain, I'm like, why are you why would you do that? I just personally will never be. You will never catch me. This is my solemn vow to you. In a situation where I could be gored by a bull. I will never be gored by a bull. I can guarantee that because that's such an avoidable fate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, F1 absolutely does need some sort of vehicular drying scheme. Respectfully, if NASCAR can figure it out, yeah.
Well, the thing is it's the spray though. It's not even really obviously the spray is impacted by how wet the track is, but I think the
give all the volunteers squeegees and just squeegee it off.
You don't even need volunteers. I think you open it to the fans, give them a bunch of towels. Problem solved.
So like the way the Bills just like offer people free tickets if they shovel out Orchard Park every year.
Yeah, exactly like that. Actually, I also think oh, I forgot to say this in my video, and I'm realizing now. Um, what about tiny windshield wipers for their visors?
So, have you ever seen Grey's Anatomy?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I am so petrified of hospitals, and the sight of blood and hearing about like severe medical incidents makes me physically ill to the point that I feel like I'm gonna pass out. So I actually cannot watch Grey's Anatomy.
So there are like tiny glasses. So there are like glasses that then have these like tiny like microscopes built into the glasses for neurosurgery. And I just imagine like the tiny windshield wiper, like
Yes,
equivalent on there, and I'm just laughing very hard at that.
I
Somebody who's seen Grey is like, back me up on this.
I'm the thing with them. Yeah, they could have dried it out. I feel like they were just like because they knew it was gonna run. I feel like that decision was just because they knew it was gonna rain again. So there's no point in drying it out right now. It's about to get wet again. So
like would that have been better if there had been 4 green flag racing laps between
no,
909 and 917?
Not unless you're gonna do another starting or a standing start, which they weren't. So.
And then it's like, yeah, no, like it was better that we just had one race. Like,
right.
It was annoying at 9 o'clock. And by that, I mean, I was annoyed.
Oh, but without that rain delay, we never would have gotten Nico Rosberg hour, which is the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Right, and we also got a 44 lap race, or like a
21
lap of green flag
racing
race.
And that's the thing is,
I think knowing that there was no rain coming beyond the band that showed up,
right,
that they very obviously did the right thing.
No, yeah, I agree with Laz as well, or maybe it's Laser, but they it was perfect. Like that was the right choice for sure, and also. But I have beef with, first of all, the time thing is so funny because it's like, does it count that the race has started or not yet? I have beef with the time thing in general because it's like it's because of the light, right? But at the same time, I'm like, okay, then just call it when it gets too dark, like you call it when it rains too hard. Like if you can keep going, there's no reason that it needs to end at 2 hours and 59 minutes if it's still light enough out. And there have been plenty of times where it's like you could have probably pushed it to the end fairly easily without it's just 3 hours is so arbitrary, especially because the races start at different times in different places.
So I mean, it's an effort to get consistency because obviously a night race can't go till 2 a.m.
Why?
Just like you can't, well, because you can't leave fans there till 2 a.m.
Well, they can leave. We're not holding them hostage.
No, I know, but like,
and the races are in like the night races are in like Singapore and Vegas. Like you can be out at 2 o'clock in the morning in those places.
I mean, I don't know what the like nighttime public transportation in Bahrain is like. In Vegas, yeah, you're fine.
Bahrain's a little different because I don't know like the logistics of like to and from, but like in terms of Singapore, Vegas, Shanghai. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming that I've never been to Singapore and Shanghai, but I'm assuming that they have a pretty robust public transit system. And is it not?
No. Shanghai's like it's 3 p.m. start.
It's so bad that I get Singapore and Shanghai mixed up because they don't even look similar visually on the track. They're just both cities in like the same general region of the world. It's the S's. It's the S's. It's so bad. This is like how I can't tell you why, but Tim Ryan and Connor Lamb are dead ass the same person to me. Like the amount of times I have been confidently talking about one of them when I was actually talking about the other one. I don't sometimes like wires just get crossed in my brain like that, and I couldn't tell you.
Can I admit my version of that?
Yes.
Herman Cain and Ben Carson.
That's bad. Racist.
When Ben Carson was giving his speech in the 2020 RNC, I did look up from my phone see him and go, wait, isn't he dead? Fully forgetting that those were two different people.
That's so bad. That's so bad. In your defense, old
Sit here and tell me that I'm wrong.
Old men of any race look identical to me. Like, all old white men look the same to me. All old black men look the same to me. All old Asian, like, once men reach a certain age, they just homogenize into one. They got a look. They have a look. Like, every old man group has a look.
There's also like 3 Tony Blair era like labor cabinet ministers that all look like regens of the same person.
Every English politician is the same person. It's the crazy. I'll go further. Every English man, especially the white ones, but even not the white. It's crazy that like it goes beyond that. It extends beyond race. Every single British man looks exactly the same. Like, it's crazy that they all have a look. And it's partially the government mandated haircut, but it honestly goes deeper. Like, can we talk about the fact that everyone in England has the same haircut? Like, what's up with that? Like, what is up with that? Because even Lewis before
George only learning what hair product was the second he moved to Monaco and his Spanish girlfriend got to explain it to him. It's hilarious.
He broke free. He literally left England and got rid of the haircut immediately. Like, it's crazy that they all have the same haircut. It's one of my it's one of the things in the world that like baffles me the most. And every time, like, and then like we met Ollie, and I was like, well, he's got the haircut.
So later, turn 1.
Should we?
Unacceptable. Just unacceptable.
Well, the
you were bitching for a Rolling Stone for a reason. You can't even execute a Rolling Stone.
I know. On a Rolling Start. The Rolling Start element of it is. Someone said Boris Johnson was his own thing. That is true. He is a cartoon come to life. So that's obviously completely different. He's not even fully human.
But also, Boris Johnson, born in New York City.
Oh. Well, now everything makes sense. Duh. Okay.
Exactly.
Wow. That little tidbit has really, I'm going to think about that a long time. Because this is like finding out that John Elkin was born in New York. I was like, oh, he's a New York Italian, of course. Like, of course. Like, everything makes sense now. Like, duh. Like,
What is Boris Johnson? Is Eric Adams just a Boris Johnson regen? The streets are saying.
I don't condone corruption, okay? And if I was the mayor of New York, I wouldn't be corrupt. Although I do think that if the Turks want to burn to death in their own embassy, I mean, that's kind of their business. But selling your office, bad, right? But selling your office for first class tickets to Paris, that's like $1,400. That's not that much. Like, you gotta reach higher. At least Bob Menendez was getting gold bars, okay? Like, you gotta dream bigger. $1,400 for that's the worst corruption of all time. You only got $1,400. Again, Bob Menendez got gold bars. And the fact that like the first domino that And the fact that like the first domino that tipped this over was Sabrina Carpenter doing a music video about murdering her ex-boyfriends in a church is the funniest thing that's ever happened.
Every part of that sentence is just
every part. Because at first I feel like many people think that they were mad because her outfit was too risque. But if you look at her outfit, I mean, it's a short dress. I wouldn't wear it to church, but it's really not that like they weren't mad about the outfit. They were mad because the song is about murdering her ex-boyfriends, which again, support, love, slay queen. But and then she was obviously holding the funeral in the church. And I will say, not to defend the Catholic Church because I'm never on their side, but not murdering is one of their, it's a big thing with them, you know, like they were bound to get that felt. It's one of the rules. It's one of the rules.
You didn't do a live yesterday, so can I get a couple qualifying takes?
Yes.
Out here. Okay, take number one. Charles Leclerc has silent stayers, aka the dumbasses, who have an attention span of like three races, and reminded people that yes, he is capable of putting that Ferrari in places it doesn't deserve.
5 podiums in the last 7 races. That's all I need to.
How the hell did Charles Leclerc put that car on the second row twice in 2 days? Crazy. In qualifying. How?
Because he's insane at qualifying, and everybody just refuses to admit it. That's like partially.
It's just because he hasn't had a pole in a while. Like that's it.
Well, because the Ferrari car sucks.
You are talking to a George Russell fan. You do not need to explain this to me. Everyone was like, I don't know, is George actually that good? And then he like pops it on pole in Canada. And then it's like, oh yeah, George is incredible. And now everyone's doing like actually George might be a fraud thing again because the Mercedes is now the definitive fourth fastest car.
Right, like but that's also what pisses me, like part of what pisses me off so much about this narrative that like Lewis can't get it together in qualifying despite being like a 10th off of his teammate, which is like not anything at all really. And I'm also like, but it's like they're acting like he's a 10th off Logan Sargent. Like Charles Leclerc is one of the best qualifiers on the grid. Like the fact that Lewis is a 10th off him in this shit ass car and Charles has more experience driving this shit ass car. Like it's a weird and uncomfortable car to drive and to set up as well. Being a 10th off of Charles Leclerc in qualifying, they're acting like this man is like fully P19. They're acting like he's Bottas. And I'm like, I resent that.
I mean, in fairness, this weekend, he, did not understand how to drive this car until qualifying, or until the race. But but no, I understand that this weekend for Lewis was not like this was the first time that he drove the way that people have been acting like he's been driving all year. Yes. Take number 2. Can everybody calm the F down on the Kimi Antonelli takes? It's fine. He had a bad weekend.
Yeah,
it happens.
I think he's doing fine. I will say it's just tough when Toto set him up for failure. You can't say he's the next Max Verstappen because over and over and over again. Because then when he's not the next Max Verstappen, everyone's like, well, he sucks.
Sure. But like people being like, oh, it'd be better if he was in a Williams or better if he was in an Alpine. No, it wouldn't.
No, well, that's I couldn't disagree more with the take of like X, Y, and Z isn't ready. Like, first of all, what's driving a worse car gonna do for like the only thing is you get less attention. But like, to be honest, if that level of attention is impacting your driving ability that much, you are not destined for greatness in Formula One. Period. And also, I don't really, you know how I feel. Like I'm like you're either fast or you're not. Like yes, silly mistakes can be honed out of over time, which is why I actually think that Kimi Antonelli is showing promise because most of his flops have been like silly mistakes. But
I mean, like, oh, he hasn't scored points since whatever. Like 2 of those were mechanical DNFs. One of them was crashing in qualifying. One of them was crashing Max Verstappen out.
Slay. Right, and those are
was like a bad strategy in the wet.
Those are the kind of mistakes that will be honed out with experience. In terms of pace, you either have it or you don't. In my opinion, it doesn't matter how much time you spend in F2, how much time you spend in a back marker, how loving your team principal is to you. You're either fast or you're not. And that just kind of is what it is.
And the thing is, he's had, 4-ish, spike sessions. And that is what you are judging a rookie. Like, can they be good enough to have a spike? And he's spiked. We got he was fast in both qualifying sessions in Miami.
He's been fast. He's been quick. But also, I just think I'm kind of on. I also am like, I also think the take of I think people need to be less harsh on Kimmy, but I also think that like everyone being like it makes total sense to fire George instead of him. You were wrong on the issues.
Well, no, I think the correct answer is that it's in everybody's interest to decide this in 12 months. Once Mercedes know who would be a better, like whether Kimmy is worth firing George over. And then when Max knows whether or not the Mercedes engine is 2/10 better than the Aston engine, or 8/10 better than the Aston engine, because if it's 2/10, then you take Adrian Newey and you fire Lance Stroll.
Right.
And if it's 8/10 better, you fire whichever.
Can you imagine if they? Can you fucking imagine if they?
It's better, you fire whichever.
Can you imagine if they? Can you fucking imagine if they fire Fernando over Lance Stroll?
I think the country of Saudi Arabia would firebomb the English countryside,
and they would be right to do it.
Like,
and I would be on their side.
Would actually develop a nuclear program just to take out, the new factory and the new wind tunnel in Milton Keynes.
A targeted strike, if you will. Wait, this is actually an interesting point. I think European sports teams tend to sign based on potential and Americans based on past performance. That's interesting. Because
I mean, we say that, and then I know I'd say this with great politeness to my soccer fan friends. Cristiano Ronaldo is still gonna be in the Portuguese national team at the World Cup next year, so.
Well, but does Portugal really have anything better going for them? No offense to the nation of Portugal, but they don't. They're small. They don't have a huge population to draw from.
Well, I mean, losing Diego Jota is actually like a really meaningful problem for their national team.
I don't know who that is, but I'm sure you're right.
Liverpool soccer player who died in a car crash.
Oh my
3 weeks
God!
Ago. Yeah, no, very distressing. But this is the point. Like a 40-year-old Ronaldo is going to play like meaningful minutes for a Portuguese team. So I think the Europeans,
I think that.
I don't know. I mean, then again, like 20-year-old. Then again, I'm a Man United fan, and we paid like $70 million for Rasmus Højlund. So maybe they're right.
That is crazy that guy that just died in a car crash. Holy shit.
It's not quite as bad. No, I mean, that's not what I mean. Like, the Johnny Gaudreau dying, biking on a road drunk. Like, he was biking on a road, he was a little bit drunk. But a drunk
responsible, not drinking and driving. They don't have Uber in England. It's a third world country.
Well, this was actually in, like, Hoboken, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
The hockey player died at the beginning of last, but he was at a wedding. He was, drunk. He was biking. And some drunk asshole just fucking hit him.
Oh my God, that's so horrible.
Hit him and his brother. Another brother tragedy, unfortunately.
Oh my God.
There's been a frightening little mini run of, good, still active athletes dying in the last 2 years.
Oh my God. Well, knock on wood. Hopefully there aren't any more.
Max Verstappen just wants to tell to chillax about driving fucking Rayon in Eau Rouge in the wet when nobody can see anything.
First of all, Max Verstappen using the word chillax is one of the funnier things that's ever happened. I don't know why, but that just sounded so strange coming out of his mouth. But, well, I'll say this. I feel like I'm pro listening to the drivers, but also sometimes they do need to be these are not people that have a normal risk calculus, right? Like they just because you don't care if you die doesn't I think the adults in the room sometimes need to be maybe not. You know what I mean? Like with the halo. None of the drivers wanted that, but they were absolutely right to add the halo.
Yeah, no, and the thing is this is my sneaky why it's not the worst thing in the world if we're going to a rotational spa. Wet spa just does something to, it's just not.
Well, there hasn't been, knock on wood, there hasn't been any problems, I don't think, since they changed Radeon, because the problem was it was not fundamentally the corner itself. It was the fact that they bounced out back onto the track. You know what I mean? And since they made that corner or that barrier more squishy, they're
and had to grab all the sides. Yes, that is true. But they also haven't really run in conditions. They've also been very skittish about the conditions.
well, maybe at Spa we should I am pro them having a different calculus at tracks that are very proven, like have a track record of being very dangerous in the wet. I would rather.
I mean, the fact that Lando. I mean, the fact that Seb knew that it was too.
That was so horrible.
Therefore, wasn't driving fast enough in 21 when Lando hit the barriers in Q3. Like, if that had been race conditions or that had been somebody else on a hot lap, like we're talking a completely different thing.
Well, yeah, Seb.
Since then, they have been far more skittish around Spa, and that's like to the good.
Yeah, well, no, that was so fucked up because every single driver that was out on track, including Max, who's the king, and Lewis, who are the kings of let us race, were like, absolutely not. There's rivers across the track. They need to red flag this right now. And they didn't do it. And it was whoever was. That's like the one thing I'll defend Lando Norris on, because I see people being like, oh, he binned it. I'm like, no, whoever went through that corner first was going to, and Seb was big mad about that one, as he should have been. Like, that was an inevitable, and when Max Verstappen is like, red flag this race, it's time to pull it out. You know what I mean? And
I mean, the thing is, like, Seb basically was just on the radio his entire lap being like, why on earth are we on this track right now?
yeah, so I'm happy for them. I do think they're too cautious about about them driving in the rain, but then weirdly, once they are driving in the rain, they're not cautious enough, like when it comes to red flags. You know what I mean? Like, they're very, very, very cautious on if we're gonna start, but then they're happy to send 8 cranes out on the track and have people, like live human beings, running around on foot next to cars that could spin off at any moment in time. Like, that is crazy to me.
Or like Brazil last year should have been red flagged about 3 laps before it was.
Probably. But that's the thing, is like, I don't think that means we need I'm not happy about rotational. Well, I don't know. I'm not that mad about rotational Spa and Zandvoort. Canning
Zandvoort's going. I think what's going to end up being is it's going to be rotational Barcelona at Spa, I think.
For another street track in Madrid,
but like, we've lost the war on the Madrid street track, unfortunately.
No, I will never. I will be out here until my dying day, being a crazy person with a sign in the parking lot. Like, I don't care. I hate them all.
Okay, but like, if we're gonna put Kyle Lamy on the track, or we're gonna put a Thai GP on the track, you know,
Kyle Lamy is a real circuit, so I will reserve judgment until we've had a couple races there, and then I will see if I like it or not. The Thai one, I'm against, because they're gonna shove another random street track into fucking Bangkok. Make a good track.
I mean, the correct answer is just go back to Sepang. Sepang?
Yeah.
Just go back there. Malaysia was great.
It was great. It was, and now that I know that it's not Myanmar, we're all good. The M's, it's the M's. The other day, oh my God, I was talking about Malta for dead ass 15 minutes, and I was calling it Moldova the entire time. Those could not be 2 different countries. Like, 2 more different countries. Like, I was like, oh, and the way I was like, oh, I would love to go to Moldova. Everyone's probably like, what the fuck? Oh, I was like, oh yeah, I know a friend who had her baby there. Like, what? And I'm like, they were probably like, what are you talking about, girl? Like, oh, the M's. It's the M's. They'll get you. But
I mean, okay. So here's my big thing from this race weekend. thank God Oscar Piastri, like, we would be talking about a championship lead of 30 points if Oscar Piastri knew how to brake properly in Britain. Like, I don't think the Lando fans properly appreciate how much they are only in this championship fight because of Oscar, like, because of Oscar being beached in the gravel and, 10-second penalties that probably should have been a 5. Like, it's close. Like, it's close to being bad for one of them.
Oh, I think I saw a tweet yesterday that was like, "Oh my God, like, what if it comes down to the last race?" And I'll admit, slightly mean-spirited fashion, was like, "This ain't coming down to the last race, honey."
Like, the thing about this is like my big defense of advanced analytics is that, like, we all have a results table, right? If what you would like to do is just repeat the results table to me as your prediction of what will happen moving forward, okay, cool. I didn't need that from you, right? Analytics, or just like a better understanding than just, well, they've won 3 races and he's won 4 races or whatever. Like, if you look at this championship with any sort of unbiased lens here, Lando Norris is not that close.
No. Sorry,
he is here by luck and, by hook and by crook.
I'm evolving into my true form because it's too hot to have my hair on my shoulders. I'm sorry, you're getting my hair mask rooster self. This is really, I'm the biggest catfish of all time because the only time I take my hair down is to film a video. Oh, but no, you're right. I will say my big problem with F1 stats is that, like, they exist, like, they're very arbitrary and, like, isolated, if that makes sense. Like, we have very poor data, like, big picture. We have we have so much more data than most other sports, like, in a micro sense, like, in the moment. But when it comes to the macro big picture data, we, like, have literally nothing.
Like, because the thing is, we all know that you can't just be like, "Hi, you're P5, I'm P3." That makes you, like, better. But I have no way of knowing, I don't know who did better with the car that they had behind them, or under them, I should say. Charles Leclerc or George Russell, right?
Right. Well, it's because there is...
Charles, they both did very well, but, like, is George getting to P5 in that Mercedes more or less impressive than Charles? If less impressive, how much less? Who knows?
No, it's so true because also, like, in F1 there are so many variables in general. Did you have a long pit stop? Strategy, like, mechanical shit. Like, did a fucking paper bag fly and did you hit a bird? You know what I mean? Like, but the largest variable, which is the car differential and the car performance, it will always be unknown to us. You know what I mean? Even when we, like, mostly know, like, you can never really know definitively.
Right, like, that's the thing. It's like, you need, like, because we cannot run these things. We don't have perfect teammate comparisons. Like, like, it's like, people were like, "Oh, George, extracted the maximum out of that Mercedes yesterday to get him to be." Did he?
We don't know.
You know that? Because I don't know that. I think that I want that to be true as a George fan. Is it? Do we know that? Do you have a source on that?
We don't.
Because I don't know that for sure. I don't know that at all.
No, and I will say, I think that's a big reason why F1, more frustratingly for myself and more so than any sport I've ever watched in my life, operates.
Okay, maybe let's go.
Who's winning?
Tie game 1-1.
England?
They just tied it, yeah. Sorry, sorry. I love women's footy. Okay.
I want to get into it, but I hate soccer and I don't want to. Okay, I tried to be. I walked the walk. I was waking up at 2 a.m. to watch Real Madrid games at high school because because this girl I was obsessed with was obsessed with Real Madrid. Like, I tried so hard to like soccer, but I would just be sitting there. I knew all the plot lines. I was so into it. I loved Iker Casillas, but like, it was I just would sit there and watch the games and be like, I can't. Like, this is so boring.
What a cross! Oh my God, what a cross by Chloe Kelly. Can we take a brief moment to talk about how funny the British press is?
About what?
So the English women's lineup. I don't know if it's the same coach who won them their World Cup a few years back, but not English. Okay, nobody cares. She wins everything for them. She won them a World Cup. She won them 1 Euro. She got them back to the second World Euros final. The men's team hired Thomas Tuchel. I still don't know how to pronounce his man's name. Arguably the best cup competition coach in the men's game. Won a terrible England side Champions League. To this day, I still have no idea how you did that with Mason Mount as your best player, but whatever. And the entire newspapers were just like, England has hired a German.
No.
Hired a German.
They hate Germans. The residual England hatred of Germany is low-key hilarious and very pronounced in any European sport that you watch from a British POV. But it's also hilarious because it's like, I mean, obviously I get it. Like, they bombed London. It's a whole thing.
Is this why you think Crofty hates Sebastian?
Yes,
so much?
actually, it does tie into that. In fact, but the funnier obsession to me is like Russia has such a complex about England, and I'm like, I'm almost offended as an American. Like, we're supposed to be your number one enemy. Why do you care about fucking England? But they really do.
You're mad that Roman Abramovich moved to London and bought Chelsea instead of moving to buying the Jets?
That was because England has horrible tax policies and fiscal strategy in general, and opened themselves up to become London grad, basically. And like, that's a whole.
Come on. Roman Abramovich would have been a better owner. Would be a better owner of the Pats than Robert Kraft.
No. Because then it's like Robert Kraft was supporting small business. Okay, Roman Abramovich has killed. Roman Abramovich has killed people before.
But Abramovich. Yes, but Abramovich I guess Kraft won things too.
Yeah, and also like
in terms of the Russian oligarchs though, like, I don't know, buys a soccer team and just keeps firing and then rehiring the same manager every 2 years.
No, that element of it was funny.
So doing Roman comes out pretty well in that equation.
Well, I've always said, because I kind of had this take about the Mazepins, which this is terrible, but I will say, having them, I don't think it'd be the worst idea to give them a Formula One team, because if they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars to wasting hundreds of millions of dollars on the talentless Nikita Mazepin, that's less money that they can give to Putin. Like, we should support these people wasting their money, really. But I also think that, like, allowing, like Chris said, Roman's pretty much the reason Putin is president. Like, allowing a cartoon villain from a Russian oligarch to purchase what is a cultural institution in your nation is a sign of weakness, in my personal opinion.
No, you're actually correct about that. I just love the fact that like one of the best recurring subplots of February 2022 was, will Chelsea legally be allowed to will Chelsea have the legal funds to pay for a plane to the continental mainland to play a Champions League game?
Oh, imagine they had to take the bus.
It would not have been as much fun if they had like taken Kiev in like 3 days, Kiev in 3 days, but they didn't. So it's
yeah.
We can laugh about these things now. Also, I'm Ukrainian, just FYI.
Well, those And also, like, the really funny thing is like how fucked those oligarchs are right now because they're trapped. Is like how fucked those oligarchs are right now because they're trapped. Like, because the West finally nutted up and was like, we're you actually can't take all of your money that you got from like brutally exploiting the people of Russia and like objectively just stealing government money um and use it to live a lavish life in the West while the guy that you made president is threatening to nuke us, because they did let them do that for like a while. We did too. Well, now we just implemented this golden visa program, so like come on in. But the
Yeah, I mean, like they can't just send their sons off to Harvard
right.
anymore.
And so they're stuck in Russia, and they have like they don't have, and so they have to do, and Vladimir Putin can take all of their money, so now they like have to, like, they are so fucked. And I'm like, I also, I have to start a new bot account. My old last one got deleted. My favorite thing in the world is commenting on every single Instagram photo that Nikita Mazepin posts. Why haven't you been conscripted yet? I hate him with the fire of 1,000 suns. Did you see that Telegram thing about him?
No, do tell.
It is actually so horrifically sad and like a horrifying glimpse into like what it's like probably like to exist as a woman in Russia right now. This girl, well, woman, lady, she's an adult, I is a prostitute, and Nikita Mazepin hired her. They do their business, right? And she goes to leave, and he beat her over the head and around her body with the butt of a pistol, raped her, and then like beat her some more and like left her bloody. And she went to the police and filed a police report, and the dad Mazepin and his bodyguards showed up at her apartment and were like, rescind your police report or we're gonna kill you. And so she obviously did that. And then she posted this whole thing on Telegram, like photos, video, like security cam footage. It was like her. I didn't even watch the footage of it, if I'm honest, because why would I want to watch? I believe you, girl. Like, I don't want to watch that. Um, he, and yeah, and obviously she's probably dead and nothing happened.
Jesus fuck. I mean, we knew he was.
Right. Right. Mazepin. It's about Mazepin. Yeah. I mean, well, obviously we knew, like, anyone who's posting videos of them sexually assaulting a woman as she screams at them to stop on their Instagram story for lols is doing things that are far, far worse behind the scenes.
Yeah, but remember Lyndon Norris, said that he deserved a spot in the sport. So.
That was the day. Well, no, he didn't say that. He said, why is everyone booing him? Boo Mick, he's spun too. Well, Mick has never, that we know of, sexually assaulted anyone. So the bar is in hell, but he climbed over it. That was the day that he gave it Kennedy. I was watching that stream because I used to be a kind of a, not a stan, but I liked Lando. Yeah, and also he was, to his credit, really like the main driver and originator of that. You know what I mean? And he kept it up in a way that the others didn't and he used to do, I don't know if he still does it, but he used to do these race recap streams / videos, whatever, where he would watch like the highlights and like all the videos F1 puts out basically, and then the McLaren team recap. And his commentary was actually like very insightful and interesting. And obviously anytime you do that, you're going to get yourself into trouble because like people will always just be mad when you are giving your opinion on like incidents on track. But even when I disagreed with him, I thought it was like pretty insightful and interesting. But yeah, he lost me with that one. And then obviously the infamous Grill the Grid video, which is far less like actually serious and just more my F1 fan brain.
I mean, as you always say, every tongue that rises against Sebastian Vettel shall suffer whatever
Shuffle.
Shuffle, yeah. I mean, it's just exceedingly clear that Lando doesn't have it to me. I don't know if anybody wants to make the case that Lando's, like, doing a good job.
Well, probably no one that hasn't already blocked me or been blocked by me. I'm not big in the Lando stan community, as you can probably imagine.
The thing that gets me about like Lando is he gave a quote. I read about this on your site last year. I need to start writing it more. I need to actually. I have like 5 pieces I half written. I need to actually finish one. But Lando gave a quote to I believe it was to the Independent at the end of last year, like Brazil time, either before Brazil or after Brazil, about how he's run a nearly flawless season. Second half of the season, right? So call that Zandvoort on, right? Post summer break.
2024? That season?
Yeah. The season where he did not end up on the podium. He won 2 races by the time he'd given that quote. He had full 5 pole positions. Twice he bottled so hard he literally did not even make the podium from a pole position. And he called that a nearly perfect season. You know, run of form, whatever the wording was specifically. And I just looked at that and went, so you just have never held yourself to a real standard.
Wait, when did he give this quote? After Monza or after Brazil?
After, like, Brazil or after Vegas?
Oh. After Brazil is crazy because that is one of... I'll say this. F1, and this is not a very, like, technical #wheel knowledge knower take, but I do believe that having watched many seasons of Formula One and also know technical #wheel knowledge knower take, but I do believe that having watched many seasons of Formula One and also knowing like the arcs of everything, not everything that's ever happened, but you know what I mean. F1 is weirdly poetic in the way that there are always inflection points and moments that are so indicative of it's the perfect encapsulation of the story that is about to unfold, right? And like Senna being 800 seconds in the lead at Monaco 1988 9, don't kill me, and yeah, and seeing because they didn't even have fucking radio at that point, seeing Prost's lap time on the board and being psychologically incapable of not trying to beat it and probably binning it, potentially having a puncture that we'll never know, that will never be clarified. Personally, I think that if he had a puncture, that probably would have been clarified, but we'll never know because there's no footage of it because cameras had not evolved to the state where we could really be doing the whole F1 coverage thing yet. And but that is just so indicative of like the everything about Senna and Prost, right? And like the like Japan 2007, and I genuinely, I mean, we don't know, it hasn't played out yet, I could be proved wrong, but I really do believe that that Brazil was such a moment for both Lando and Max. Like the poetry of that race, when you look at it from a 3,000 foot view, crazy. And then him after, and then down to the post race interview, like every part of that race day is so indicative of like in 10 years who Max is going to be and in 10 years who Lando is going to be.
So the funny thing is with Charles and George, there's 2 moments with Charles and there's 1 moment with George that we will look back on so specifically as the side of what was going to come. With Charles, if he becomes Ferrari's next WDC, if he breaks the Kimi Räikkönen, not since Räikkönen curse, then we will look back on coming into Ferrari, getting his first race win in Spa, but then getting his first podium celebration. The first time he actually was able to celebrate on the podium because obviously the tragedy of Spa 2019 being at Monza as a Tifosi. You know, I think the first race winner graduate of the Ferrari Driver Academy.
Yes. See, to me, that moment for Charles is there are two moments for the two ways that this could go. The first,
the other way, and then if it goes badly, it's Bahrain 2019, of course.
no, see, I think Bahrain 2019 in the positive, in that it's lap 1 of Bahrain 2019, him disobeying team orders to pass Seb. And then the fact that Seb like wasn't even mad about it because he was like, well, and then also, but to me, the foreshadowing of the Ferrari is it all is Monaco 2019, when they fucked him over in quali and didn't send him out for a second lap because they said he was safe. And then, well, Seb was like, Charles trusted them. Seb didn't. It's almost like there's a lesson in there. And that's why when people are like, oh, well, they should have listened, in the quali kerfuffle that happened earlier this year, they're like, well, Lewis didn't go out again. They told Charles he was safe too. Like, he didn't listen to them. It's almost like there's a reason for that. But Monaco 2019, getting fucked in quali, not being P15, and then just going absolutely goblin mode and overtaking 3 people in spectacular and terroristic fashion before yeeting both himself and Nico Hulkenberg into the wall of that pool. Start as you mean to go on. That's the most iconic thing anyone has ever done. It was funny as hell. And
unfortunately, George Russell walking into Lewis Hamilton's car, a car that doesn't even fit him, and snatching Valtteri Bottas's soul into turn 1 is unfortunately more iconic.
That, yes, because I will say that George X Sakir is, I think, probably the funniest single race storyline that's ever happened. And the fact that at the end they were like, oh, you have a puncture, you have to come in again. No, you didn't. No, he didn't. I'm such a truther on that. No, show me one other time in the history of Formula One, we've been doing this shit a long time, that a driver has had a fucking puncture and hasn't known about it and hasn't been like, hey, there's something horrifically wrong with my car right now. Even if it's a slow puncture, they can tell when they have a freaking dime-sized flat spot on those tires. You're telling me George Russell wouldn't be able to tell if he had a fucking puncture? Please.
Oh my god.
You have a puncture. Okay, Toto. Okay.
My favorite thing about that race is it's like that. It's Spa 21 in quali when George pops on the second row, or pops it into second on the front row. Crofty and Brundle were not even like attempting to hide that they were blatantly cheering for George. It was quite funny because like in Brazil 22, they're like not really cheering for George because they're cheering for just like either George or Lewis, right?
Right.
It's like there's kind of like a bad, you know. Both stories are great, right? Lewis extends the winning streak. George gets his first win, right?
Yeah.
Both of them were good storylines. But in those two cases, like, they were just not even hiding it. They were not even attempting to be like nice about this. You have Brundle in the commentary box in Spa just being like, give him a contract, Toto. Like, they were so the commentary of 2021 just blatantly cheering for Valtteri Bottas to be fired is one of my.
It gets to a point. Like, no offense, but it gets to a point. Like, and the fact that like I view the Red Bull situations differently because it's like there's like demonic work at play there. Like, I don't even fucking know. But like when it comes to the voucher, like someone who is like a Valtteri Bottas, a Rubens Barrichello, it's fucking annoying. Like, it's fucking annoying. Like, you know that the only reason they're keeping them there is like, that's why like it pisses me off when like I feel like people get the number one, number two driver thing like it's so overstated, because when there is the number one driver is whoever qualifies first. And the way you prescribe a number one driver is by hiring someone who's not going to out qualify the guy you want to be your number one driver. Period. Full stop. It's not secretly sabotage. It's bold of these people to assume that Ferrari is competent enough to like secretly make sabotage. They can't even make things go the way they want them to go when it's not a secret. Like, but I also think that like, and there are like other, but like, and like that does.
Also, is Red Bull not is Red Bull hiring a quote unquote number two driver?
No, they're just. That's why I said the Red Bull situation is a completely separate thing, because they're just.
Or has the Red Bull driver program not produced a number one since Max Verstappen? Like, if they had produced George Russell, they'd be having a different. The shape of Red Bull would be different. Right?
Well, but that's why I need them to put. No offense to the upper middle class drivers of the world, the Yukis, the Carloses, the Checos, but I'm gonna need them to put Max, Charles, George, even Lewis in that car and give it a go, because like I genuinely want to see if someone who is I'm not saying they're on Max's level in the, like, I'm not trying to have an argument about who's better, but like I need someone in the same tier as Max to give it a go and see if that fixes the problem. Because is it the program, or is Max freakishly talented in a way that like another F1 driver wouldn't necessarily have been, because their dad didn't make them go out and drive like a cart you assembled with toothpicks in the driving snow. You know what I mean?
Also, can we talk about Nico trying to rage bait Jos Verstappen today?
I love him so much. The way he starts laughing when Jos is like, I'm always quiet. He just is openly like chuckling at this man.
I'm so glad. I love Nico. He has my entire heart.
Nothing will ever I know. I love him so truly, so deeply. We need him here. He's such an essential element. But nothing will ever make me that reminded me of nothing will ever make me madder than when Checo first had his like first dip in performance, where he was like out in Q1 for like 4 races in a row. Nico Rosberg asked Christian Horner, he was like, Checo's done so well for you guys. He's been incredibly solid. Obviously, he's been a wildly consistent driver over the course of his career. He was doing well at the beginning of this season, and then he's just fallen off a cliff. Like, what has changed? Like, is there something going on? Did you change something with the car? And Christian Horner is basically like, how dare you say that Checo sucked? Even though he's actually saying the opposite of that in if you listen to the full context of the question. And then everyone on the internet was like, Nico being shady toward Checo. I'm like, no, the premise of the question is that he's not bad, so what's happening? Yes, he's saying he's
qualified. I'm pretty sure Logan Sargent now qualified him in that race.
Right.
And B, do you remember what else happened that day?
No.
That was the Lewis Nico podium post quality podium interview day. That was a great line from you, because it was you finding out that he did the podium interviews, and then walking into the Sky coverage with Horner as like the lead, I think.
Him?
And then Nico asking that question and Horner having like a meltdown at the concept of a critical question.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and proclaim Nico Rosberg to be the hashtag savior of women in the paddock, because I don't want to know that man's political views on anything. But he has something I think is a major green flag about him, is that he has had beef with Horner from the jump. He has always made it so clear that he does not like that man, and Horner has made it very clear that he does not like Nico. And I'm like, hell yeah. Plus, he's saving the earth through sustainable yachting. Sustainable yachting is the most indefensible shit I've ever heard from anyone.
Oh, can we briefly talk about the company whose CEO, the Coldplay thing, hiring Gwyneth Paltrow?
Hell yeah.
Video?
That's hilarious.
Ex-wife of Coldplay frontman Chris Martin.
So funny.
And the originator of one of the greatest lines of all time. We do not talk enough about how fucking hilarious Conscience Uncoupling was.
Gwyneth Paltrow she kind of gives me Nico Rosberg energy, in that, like, she's just like a weird alien, and I'm like, you're amazing. Is she the one?
Were you on Twitter for the day where they announced they were consciously uncoupling?
Yes.
What are the top 10 day on Twitter?
That, and when the fly landed on Mike Pence's head, top days on Twitter. It is beautiful. That's my favorite phenomenon in the world, is like I would say maybe like once a year or maybe twice a year, there's a moment that brings every niche, every corner, every party and every debate together on one topic, and then everyone just gets their jokes off for like 6 hours.
And it needs to be fundamentally unimportant.
Yes, that's
like the Will Smith slap was right on the edge of like, it's kind of important-ish. Kind of, because it gets into because the speech was like, actually it's fine because I love my wife, I get to beat the shit out of somebody. So like it creeps over a line. But it needs to be fundamentally, I need to be able to get like everybody from like the Barstool Bros to like the, actually being anti-incest is ableist people. I need all of them to be able to make the same joke.
Right. Yeah. We bring the full spectrum together. I will say, I defend the Oscars thing because that's a big example of like, people love to be like obviously, okay, gonna give out a blanket, violence is bad. Don't punch people. But let's not pretend. But like, people refuse to acknowledge the context. Like, they're at the Oscars. He wasn't gonna kill him. Like, there is like
Apatow being like, he could have died.
Oh my god. Assault. It's giving it's peak Adam Schefter, all caps assault. Like, I'm like, can we please for a moment, like, again, don't punch people, but like, that was first of all, sometimes it was a crazy thing to do, but like, let's not pretend like Chris Rock was in like real danger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just like, the speech is like far less defensible than the slap. Because like the slap is just whatever, you did a dumb thing. Being like, Richard Williams loved his daughters and wanted to protect his daughters, and I wanted to protect my wife, and like,
oh yeah,
that was the way more fucked up thing than like, okay, he got slapped, like, cool.
Well, Will Smith is a weirdo. We know that. So
I mean, Will Smith has talked about, I know far too many things about his sex life and his wife's sex life.
Well, here's my real take on the matter, is that like, making like, obviously you make jokes about people, but making fun of a woman for being bald is a little bit close to just like to me, I don't find it here's the thing, if you're it's the Ricky Gervais of it all. If you're gonna make a borderline joke, it better be funny, and I didn't really find that joke that funny, and I also think it's bordering like dangerously close to being like, haha, that woman isn't hot, which was like the majority of jokes relating to women for like 50 years. And I think that Jada should be allowed to punch him in the face. I don't love the like, my wife of it all, but like, if you want to tap in a proxy, shrug.
Counterpoint, they made like 3 jokes about LeBron's hairline in the monologue, and we all fucking laughed at those, so.
Counterpoint, it doesn't matter how men look in society.
cool. Jada Pinkett Smith is not like is not suffering because of her Chris Rock joke. When she, whatever, I hate her so much. She's insane.
I don't know anything about her other than that she's a freak.
The concept of Red Table Talk is oh my god. You were just like, you forced Will Smith to the table to talk about how you wanted to fuck your, gardener, whatever.
I mean,
that's not actually what happened, but I don't care enough about the actual details to remember them.
I don't know anything about this woman. I've never watched or really heard of Red Table Talk before this very moment in time. If you, if someone...
If you want to make that joke, you do have to be prepared to get punched at. But that's still an incredibly Boston opinion of you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm really insecure about my teeth. If someone made fun of my teeth in front of a room full of people, I'm just not going to say, I don't know what I would do. But punching is on the table. But no, this is a Boston take of you.
One driver do you think can deliver the best punch?
Max, because of horrible reasons, but sorry, that's a bad take of me, but he probably has the most experience fighting. I mean,
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I was just trying to be funny.
I'm sorry, much like Nico Rosberg, I'm legally obligated. I am unwilling to rule out fisticuffs at this time. Unfortunately, I am legally obligated to give you an honest answer to who do I think would be the best fighter, but the answer to that question has a horrible reason. Yeah, Hulkenberg is also tall. George, no, absolutely not. Being tall isn't going to help him at all. He's a string bean. I feel like I don't know if Alex has shown the coordination required to be good at fighting. I've always said when Lewis was basically like, if Seb wants to settle it like men, we can do it face to face. I have always wanted to see Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel fight because that would be talk about two people who I just cannot, I can't physically picture that I'm throwing a punch. It would be the girliest fight of all time. Forgive my misogyny, but there would be hair pulling involved.
Can I put Gasly in this conversation? Tall enough.
Yeah, and he's built a little bit.
Some muscle on him.
Yeah.
He's definitely not in the George just I have abs because I don't weigh anything.
Yeah.
Sort of
well, to be fair to George, he's so tall. I mean, he's 6', that's not that tall, but he's so tall F1 driver wise that he has to be skinny.
Yeah. Because I think Gasly's 6 foot.
Yeah, he's he's tall too compared to the rest of them, but he's a couple inches shy of George.
Yeah, George is my height. George is 6'4".
Yeah, so they have to really be skinny.
Right. So that's the height range that you're looking for, and then Gasly's pretty he's got a decent chunk of muscle on a decent frame.
What I don't get is because so at the beginning of the season they just take the heaviest person and then they build the car around. Everyone else has to have weight up to that weight to compensate for the driver's weight, right? But so you're gonna have to stay at the same weight no matter what. But I would just try to get really fat before the season so I didn't have to starve myself as they're oh, I wish I could eat a cookie. I'm like, is it that deep? Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean but yet all of these people devour pasta and pizza before every race to carb up.
Well, yeah, you have to do that. But I just mean in general, their diets seem pretty strict, and I feel like there's an easy, again, I would just try to put on an extra 5 pounds before the season. Give yourself a little bit of
a UFC fighter.
Yeah. Try to go up categories. Just to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. The way they're Max is oh, I can't wait to retire so I can get fat. And I'm like, you could, and I mean, part of that is how much they have to work out, but he was talking about because they were talking about food, and I'm like, girl, you could do that right now. even if you're the heaviest driver, like, that's not going to make a difference as long as you get there at the beginning of the season. Because obviously, if you gain weight mid-season, then you're fucked because you're stuck with that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess here's the thing I keep coming back to when it comes to like the driver, like sort of like lifestyle, is I'm surprised more people don't do a Nico. Not necessarily retire at 31, but like feels like retiring at 33 and being a Sky commentator is a much better life if you've achieved what you want to achieve in the car than whatever the hell Fernando Alonso is doing, toiling away at midfield / backmarker cars.
But also,
God, he finally gets a race-winning car at some point.
Agree, but you and I were raised out in the world, and like the way that F1 is, like, motorsport in general, but like especially the F1 pipeline is like an actual Truman experiment that we're performing on children in real life. They've grown up in this bubble where you are like conditioned to believe that that this is like the highest form of existence, but also like you're never really given the chance and are actively discouraged from having like other interests. So and also like there is like the adrenaline element of it all. I think like the psychology that you have to even want to do this, but and B, the psychology you have to be good at it, and C, the psychology that you would inevitably end up with if you're raised in this like crazy Truman show good at it, and C, the psychology that you would inevitably end up with if you're raised in this like crazy Truman show environment. It must be hard. Like, I understand why people don't, like, you basically have to start your life over at like 35. You know what I mean? And so I understand why people stay in the like safety of the realm. There's also a lot of like social currency and capital like around your like result in Formula 1. So like I understand the people that are like trying to do more. But I think that Nico escaped that because he ultimately didn't really like it the way the others do.
But like, are we like? Does Fernando Alonso feel fulfilled? Does a piece of
It's a great. I mean, I would love to ask him that question, but I have no idea.
Like does a P17 or whatever the hell he finished today? Is that worth it for all the sacrifices he's doing to sustain this thing? To have not won a race since Barack Obama was just newly inaugurated for his second term.
But I think that they like the lifestyle primarily because they've never known anything different. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the people that hold on the longest are the ones that don't have wives and kids, because that automatically pulls you out of that lifestyle and gives you a different perspective, right? And so it's not because you can't do both, but I think that Fernando, just because he happens to have never, like, what is he really sacrificing realistic? I mean, an easier life is the answer to that question. But like, I think that the difference with Nico is that he fucking hated, like, he was miserable and he was like, this sucks. Like, I want to hang out with my wife who's nice to me and like and steam my white suits and fucking pop up on the commentary once a month.
Yeah, I just feel like the answer, I just feel like more people should consider the Nico,
Agree, but I also, well, because it's also very interesting. Like Nico in several different podcasts, I listen to all these little business podcasts that he's on, and in several different times, and once I think was a Oxford like Q&A session, people would be like, "Oh, like what advice would you give to like young people like starting out in their careers?" And multiple times he's been like, you don't have to you don't have to do something just because it's like the family business or like what's expected of you. Like do something that'll like truly make you happy and follow your passions and like not just what's expected of you. And I'm like, something you want to share with the class? Oh geez.
I mean, like, it really does feel to me like he was always sort of going to retire after his first WDC. Like,
yeah,
match your dad, do the family job, and get, make a bunch of money and get out.
And also
It's like that was inevitable, even if you won a championship in, let's just say, like, less,
I think the dad of it, his
emotionally difficult ways.
Right. The doubt of it all is definitely a factor, but I also think, like, particularly for someone like Nico, who, to an even greater extent than the rest of these people, has never known the outside world, has grown up in Monaco, was born into this bubble. The social currency of being a world champion is what he was after.
I think the fact that Keke, like, basically took himself out of, like, commentating. I don't even mean, like, officially, but just, like, talking about F1.
He disappeared. He was like, I'm going full Zero Dark 3023. Like, you'll never hear from me again. And we did it. Like, it's actually kind of crazy that he did that.
I mean, do we think that was Keke doing that, or do we think that was Nico being like, Dad, can you
Okay, this is
I need to make a name for myself, so I can't have you backseat driving my career.
This is wildly parasocial of me because, like, we'll truly never know. But that's something I think about all the time because it was also around the same time that that he stopped being his manager. And I'm like, what was it like? I feel like the best read of the situation, like the most generous read rather, is like it got to a point where it's like Nico was an adult and he's like, all right, I'm sorry, but like I have to stand on my own 2 feet. It was probably causing friction in their personal relationship to have this professional relationship on top of it. Because, like, realistically, your manager works for you, but like you work for your dad. You know what you're always gonna have I mean, I've experienced this and it's not my dad, but like when someone is your boss and then you become their equal, yes, they're equals, but like inherently, like you're still gonna defer to that person. So I feel like Nico was like, I want to go my own way. Or was like there a substantive disagreement? Disappearing from the public eye is crazy, but also Keke Rosberg, I feel like it's also equally as possible that he was never a big, like, he was much more Max vibes, you know what I mean? Like, he never, like, I enjoyed the spotlight in the way that I think that Nico does, or enjoyed attention in that way that I think that it's pretty clear that Nico does. So it's equally possible this was just an excuse to be like, never talk to me again.
Yeah. I mean, the most fascinating question is you find out somebody is referring to an F1 driver named like, is Nico Rosberg more famous than his father? More historically significant to the narrative of F1?
Those I think are two different questions, because I think yes, he's more famous, but that's just by virtue of the fact that F1 is exponentially more popular in Nico's career and now than it was during that time. I also think being on the broadcast does wonders for your Q score. Now, more important to the narrative generally, I don't know, because Keke Rosberg lived in very interesting time. I think that era of F1 was way better than the Brosades era. The Brosades era is like, it's like almost it's almost too real. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, like, this is like kind of sad. You know what I mean? Like, Nico's like, oh.
Keke Rosberg is like the 5th most important person or interesting person in the 80s.
Okay. 5th. Senna, Prost are Prost is number 1. Senna's number 2.
Unfortunately, I must say Nelson Piquet is number 3.
No. Who? Don't know him.
I'm sorry. like Nico Rosberg winning a championship and like having like 5 race wins total is not more. Martin Brundle is more famous and like more interesting a historical figure.
Well, he's been on the broadcast for 45 years. That's such an unfair comparison.
No, I know, but like Brundle being the guy who never won a race, but like could have and frankly probably shouldn't have been driving more.
Okay, wait. I want to know the 5 people. Okay, we're not counting Nelson Piquet because I have like what's the?
I'm sorry, he is unfortunately more interesting.
No, like Walpurga Black, I have cigarette burned him off the tapestry of F1. He's been deleted. I've deleted him. Okay, not counting him. Who
That I needed one more person.
I will say Elio, Dieter, Peroni, like there was also like some tragic Ferrari arcs in there.
No, I just like.
But he was cool.
Kind of wins the title, kind of just by winning the reliability roulette that was 80s F1. Like, congrats, I guess.
But also, I feel like Keke works so much as a yes, Didier Villeneuve. You're right. He isn't even probably cracking the top 10, if I'm honest. But he was such an important figure because he served as the normal guy. Him and Nigel Mansell served as the normal guys standing there going, in an era of crazy twinks everywhere. I hate to say it. I know the word is overused, but like that's what was going on in 80s F1.
So what you're saying is that he was the Donna Moss of F1 in the 80s.
Yes. He's the Real Housewives, like the one that's the audience surrogate. You know what I mean? Who's like,
See, you don't want to say that because then my response to you becomes, so he's the Maggie Jordan of this, and then you have that look on your face.
It's not Maggie Jordan's fault that Aaron Sorkin hates women. It's not the concept of an audience surrogate's fault that Aaron Sorkin hates women. That's the problem with Maggie Jordan. Like, if we're being fucking... And I ride for Aaron Sorkin. I am the #1 Aaron Sorkin fan. The way that man writes women is diabolical.
Well, every single one of his like main women are the exact same person.
Yeah.
CJ
is Mackenzie.
CJ, Mackenzie, and
no, CJ is so much better than Mackenzie, but that's because of Allison Janney, not because of Aaron Sorkin.
No, but have you seen Sportsline?
Yeah.
Felicity Huffman is Mackenzie. Is just Mackenzie, but better at her job.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He has one female. He has 2 female characters, anyways.
And I'll say this: the way that
Donna, and he has the Donna, Maggie, whatever the female assistant.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Felicity Huffman was.
Yes.
And then he has the Mackenzie, CJ. I don't remember.
Yeah. I'll say this also, an underrated Aaron Sorkin hates women situation is I actually love Dr. Bartlett and the way that she's played and portrayed throughout the show. However, it's giving those Daily Mail articles that they would write about Lewis in 2014 that I would read and be like, oh my God, this is hilarious and amazing and iconic. And then you go back and watch it as an adult and you're like, oh, just because I took it that these people were not writing it the way that I took it. Like, you know, it still comes across that way in my opinion. But like, I still think she's awesome and I think she comes across awesome. But Aaron...
But that's because you could give Stockard Channing like nothing and she would be
right. That's true. But like she's written to be like a naggy bitch. And I'm like, oh. And it works because Bartlett is like not the infallible character that Aaron Sorkin wrote him to be. It's very funny how like it's very revealing, like the dynamic between the two of them and the fact that she's clearly supposed to be the bad guy, but I'm like I'm on her side. But yeah, the Aaron Sorkin versus viewing women as people. Aaron Sorkin versus writing women as versus believing women as people in all-time rivalry.
I own Studio 60 on DVD, and I've never actually brought myself to watch it.
I don't think I've seen Studio 60, but
it's Bradley Whitford and Matt Perry.
You're selling me.
It lasted one season.
You're less selling me. I can't do one season because I get attached. Ever since Good Girls Revolt, unless you've got 3 seasons in the bag, don't come to me because I can't have that happen to me again. Danica Patrick
is terrible because she unfortunately
she believes that Jewish people are lizards.
Well, yes, so there's all of that stuff. The thing about Danica is that she's a uniquely American commentator.
No, don't put that evil on me.
Let me explain. Think about some of the great sports commentators in American sports, right? It's like Greg Olson, who was like a good tight end, right? It's like people who are pretty good, but like not great, right? Like, no offense to your boy, but Tom Brady's not that good because he can't articulate.
He's perfect. He's perfect and flawless and show-stopping, and everyone who says otherwise is a hater and a loser, of which there are many. But anyway, sorry, continue.
No, but the problem with Brady is that he's just too good to be able to explain what happened, because it's just like in his head he just understands it. He can't understand what we don't understand.
Well, I think the problem with Brady commentating is that he's a freak, weirdo, alien psychopath. Like, Tom Brady has never at any point exhibited even one sign of being normal. Like, he is a strange motherfucking bird. And of course he's going to be weird and awkward when you put him. And then also you tell him that he can't just say what's about to happen. So what's he supposed to say?
But think about the people who are, who have those jobs. It's like Greg Olson, it's Tony Romo, it's Mark Sanchez, it's the Sanchez, right?
Yeah.
It's Butt Fumble McGee. Danica Patrick wasn't very good.
The butt fumbled. I remember it like it was yesterday. Thanksgiving!
Danica Patrick was not very good. And the thing about European sports is they get a weirdly high concentration of winners to do things.
Yeah, that is actually true.
It's WDCs. It's look at the style of it. It's a lot of WDCs. Look at the various European soccer things. Like, it's Carragher and Neville on Monday Night Football for the soccer. It's like Rio Ferdinand is one of them, who won Friends and I think a Champions League. It's what's the CBS Champions League show out of London?
I have no fucking clue.
Henry and Jamie Carragher, right? It's an all-time great Champions League winner in Henry. It's a Champions League winner in Carragher. Like, it's leaks, and then it's like Danica Patrick raced a bunch in Indy. Did she even win? Was she even a race winner in IndyCar?
I don't know anything about her.
Won the 500 or did anything impressive?
I hate her. I hate IndyCar. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, IndyCar people. I've never watched an IndyCar race, and I never will, because
winner in Toronto. Let's go. I am an ironic Pato Award fan because he's hot. He's Lando, but hot.
You'll never make me care about... Well, because the IndyCar people are so...
I'm so mad at the IndyCar hardos for a golden earn a day from 3 years ago.
It's not that. It's everything. It's every single time. Like, oh my God. It's like the way that they had a little fucking meltdown because they scheduled Canada at the same time. The way anytime anything happens in their sport, they're like, F1 could literally never. Like, I don't, and they're aggressive. Like, they're mean. They don't want, but it's weird. They're like, everyone should be watching IndyCar, but then, like, the minute you say something about it, they're like, you're a fucking idiot. You don't know anything. And, like, to stand out in that capacity on sports Twitter is crazy. No, thank you. I'll be going to WEC, where everyone is fucking nice.
Also, I mean, the real IndyCar problem is that it's both, nobody, our sport is just as good as F1, but also any type of driver doesn't anything. So, yeah, they could be Max Verstappen.
Well, and also,
Big Max Verstappen and 50 cars equal.
no, they are. Well, and also,
Big Max Verstappen and 50 cars equal.
no, they are the Mad Men scene, the Gossip Girl scene, where Dan Humphrey's like, I know you think I'm a loser, and Chuck Bass is like, I don't think of you. Like, that's genuinely the dynamic. But also, it's like, the funniest part of that to me is that I'll let the Colton Herta thing from 3 years ago go when they let go of the fact that F1 wouldn't give him a super license. Why do you guys want to, if IndyCar was better than F1, why do you want to be a feeder series? Because they do want to be a feeder series. They want feeder series points. You want to be a feeder series. Why? But it is, no, this isn't, IndyCar is, everyone says that it's good. I should watch it. However, I'm being silly because I'm like, no, like the behavior of I'm not watching it out of pure spite. But
in fairness, the qualifying format looks stupid as hell. I tried watching Toronto qualifying, and it's like an average speed across all of your laps thing, I think.
Oh, hate that. Why are you making me do fucking math, bro?
No, exactly.
That actually should be illegal. That's horrible. But they.
I could be wrong. The commentary was not helpful in explaining it, and that's what it seemed like.
I will say, it's just, there are so many series out there, and I have a limited amount of time when I need to memorize. Listen, I got a lot of third string Patriots linebackers to memorize if I want to have a conversation with my father, okay? I got a lot on my plate sports wise. I like watching I've been watching WEC because I'm like, if Seb gets into WEC, I'm gonna need to fully pivot and I need to be ready. But my real choice is Rally. I think Rally's the most fun one. It looks so fun to go to. It's like chill to watch on TV. The Rally people are so nice. And when you get stuff wrong, they're like, hey, like, it's actually like this way, like you should check like out this, it's really cool. Not fucking kill yourself, you dumb bitch.
Thank you to Laser Jock for the correction. Danica Patrick has won a grand total of 1 IndyCar race.
Yeah, so is fucking Marcus Ericsson. Like, I don't. But you don't even need to be good. You don't even need.
Why you truly hate IndyCar is that it's just a playground of failed F1 drivers.
If I say my real take out loud right now, I'll never be able to show my face on the internet again. But let's just say.
Can I say it for you?
Sure.
If your pinnacle race could be won by Marcus Ericsson, you're not a real racing series?
No, I think they are a real racing series, but I'm just saying, if Marcus Ericsson and Roman Grosjean can find success, I think that tells you a little bit something about the level of talent. I mean, there's a direct comparison there that exists, and nobody wants to talk. And it is, again, that's a wildly unfair take because IndyCar is a spec adjacent series. Like, obviously it's not like a pure spec series, but like, it's again, that is a wildly oversimplified take.
Logan Sargent would have been good if he didn't decide he just wanted to live out his family dreams at the University of Miami.
Why wouldn't you, though? That's my thing with like the Lance Strolls and the Logan Sargents of it. What are you fucking doing here, girl? If my dad was a billionaire, I would not have a job. I would not have a job.
Also, respectfully, if you look like Logan Sargent.
If I was...
Lance at least doesn't have an excuse. If Logan were to break up with his girlfriend tomorrow, that man...
If I was Logan Sargent, I would be fucking girls on a yacht in Miami right now. Unfortunately, I'm not. And my parents aren't rich and I don't look like that. But
imagine Logan Sargent at a University of Miami rush week.
I mean, he was born to be in this.
I know.
Field.
Like, I genuinely.
That's also though why I think I don't find him attractive, because like the wealthy frat boy is a natural predator to myself. So like I'm like it's also why I like think that I don't, not that I don't like Danny Rick. I like him well enough, but I've never found.
You've just had enough of that energy in your life.
It's that shtick has never been cute to me. Let me put it that way.
I mean, says the sister of, Delta Pi Alpha Romeo Sauber steak, whatever the fuck.
I'm not saying I don't like a frat boy. I'm saying I don't like that particular genre.
Every sorority and fraternity name does just sound like the various names of Sauber at this point. Like, I can't keep them all. They all just sound the same to me. It's very annoying.
It's actually the funniest thing in the entire world. I love any institution, like anything that's like people take it incredibly serious and it's like objectively the least serious thing in the entire world is amazing. Like the way I used to all the time be like, "Oh, what are you gonna put me in sorority jail?" Like the way that they thought that they had control over me, and I would just be like, "No," and they would be like stunned that I would, because like I went to a school for rich kids that couldn't get into NYU. Okay. I was the only one that had a job. And I would be like, I can't go to this. Like, I have work. And they'd be like, well, just call off. And I'd be like, A, that's not how jobs work. And B, no, because I need money. And they would be like, well, we're going to fine you. And I'm going to be like, you can't fine me for going to work. I actually read the bylaws. But also, no, you're not. You can say you're going to find, like, there's no enforcement mechanism here. Like, none. So, except for you kicking me out, which isn't going to happen. So, it's so funny to me that, like, it really is, like, the full buy-in is amazing. I support it so much. I had the time of my life. I loved it.
So you just explained why you are defensive.
I'm not a Tifosi. I would never claim. First of all, everyone knows that the only real Tifosi are those that present themselves to the ancient red mist that kills you if it senses that you are not true Tifosi at heart and just vaporizes you to add to the redness of the mist. There's a process in place.
But the thing is, your second favorite driver is Ollie Behrman. You are, unfortunately.
This is Seb's fault. I hate Ferrari.
No, I know, but then you keep falling in love with Ferrari development.
It's
for Ferrari Driver Academy drivers.
Yeah, Sebastian Vettel owes me financial compensation. If he hadn't gone to Ferrari to follow really, it's Michael Schumacher's fault. We really want to get down to it. But if he hadn't followed his dreams like a selfish asshole, if he didn't follow his dreams and go to Ferrari, then Charles Leclerc couldn't have been deeply and openly obsessed with him from the and be the like, it was so cute. The helm, the weird and I feel like the tribute helmet has lost juice in hindsight because like so many more people have before that. I think that was the first tribute helmet for a living person ever. And forget about the fact that he wasn't even retiring. Like, and then the fact that it was a photo collage of Seb and Charles. The fact that Charles Leclerc went on to www.theinternet.com and found photos of him and Seb and made a motherfucking collage. But even before that, like, it just, of course, I watch everything Seb's in. So I watched all of like Charles is just so endearing. How could you not fall in love with him? And he's so funny and so talented. And also, like, he pulled a Seb on Seb. I tried to be mad about it, but how could you not love him? He's karmic punishment sent to Sebastian Vettel by the gods for what he did to Mark Webber. How could you? I stood no chance. I was always going to love Charles. And now fucking Ollie, I'm screwed. I'm screwed.
The Kimi Antonelli, Ollie Behrman 2030 lineup that wins the WDC won Charles has unfortunately given up and gone to Mercedes to win a title.
I'll kill myself. I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
Will hit so good.
Why would you even put that out there in the universe? This is a threat. I will kill myself. I will firebomb Maranello. I will hijack an airplane. Like, I am so serious.
How worried are you that it seems like the Ferrari engine is third best for next year?
My state of worry about Ferrari exists at 110 out of 100 at all times. So very.
Because it really does seem like the Honda engine is...
We don't know anything about the engines.
We don't know anything, but like... We're
La la la. Listen.
The vibes we're getting are the same vibes we were getting before preseason testing when everyone was talking about Aston in 23, when everyone's like, oh shit, the Aston might actually be like, they might have found something. And then they rocked up and they were the second fastest car for like 2 months.
Yeah, I mean...
Until Fernando had to help develop the car and then they fell apart.
It's almost like... But... Thank you for adding that in. My favorite little tidbit to throw in there. But yeah, no, I'm very worried. You know, my feelings on the larger Charles arc and my deep concern. Yeah, I mean, listen, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. As a great man once said, it is what it is. I just can't even, it's not in my mind. It's not in my mind. Do I think Ferrari is going to get their shit together? No. Nothing that they have ever said or done in the last 10 years has ever given any kind of indication to me at any point that they wish to improve. So why would I think that they're going to? I'll let myself be delusional over the offseason because it's boring to just be miserable all the time. But I know, deep down, I know what's going to happen.
Which of the following two options would be funnier? And you can't just pick the one that you can't just pick one of them because it would be less painful to you. Which of these would be a funnier 2026, 2027 narrative? Audi secretly delivering a Braun GP-esque car and Mattia Binotto winning a championship before Ferrari.
That would not be funny even a little bit. Why would you say such a thing? Why are you rooting for the devil?
Or James Vowles delivering a masterclass, beating Mercedes, and then firing Carlos Sainz for George Russell and making an Alex George title fight in 2027.
Definitely the second one. What are you talking about? You just said something horrible and then something awesome. Also, the James Toto of it all is the James Toto, definitely the second one, because the James Toto of it all is an underrated dynamic.
That would be hilarious. Like, George just being like, yeah, cool, fire me. Give me back. I'm just going to go to Williams, and frankly, they're fucking faster than anyways.
That would be iconic. No,
like, you know that George would love nothing more than Williams to go, like, to get back to the top, and then when Mercedes want to move on from him, like, he has a home back at Williams.
That would be, yes, that would be that would be amazing on several levels because, okay, you have the George Alex teammate rival situation, which is like, people like to make Mercedes comparisons a lot, but like, I would love to see how that would play out. Like, is it inevitable, or is it because Lewis and Nico are both psychopaths? Because George is a psychopath, but Alex really doesn't have that true manic energy. And like, Lewis does a good job of hiding it, but like, you don't become Lewis Hamilton without being a little bit of a manic psychopath. Just in F1 in general. Alex he has a much more Jensen vibe to me. So like, anyway, that would just be an interesting experiment. But like the James Toto, Williams, Mercedes relationship, flipping that dynamic on its head would be fascinating. Because imagine, I'm about to write some fanfic right now. Toto, I don't know what their engine contract looks like, but imagine Toto wants to pull the engines and like the betrayal of his protege.
I mean, so the really funny thing is, I definitely need Alpine to get their shit together because they've got the Mercedes engine coming. I need one of Williams and Alpine to have a title contention window.
Williams is so much the better choice for that. Like, love Flavio, but like, Alpine, like, the French.
No, but I don't care because I just need to find out. I just need Pierre or Alex to have an actually like race winning car again to find out whether or not they just suck or if that second Red Bull seed was just voodoo magic.
Alex Fraud Watch off. I think we can say that from the first part of this season.
Well, yeah, no, that is very.
But there's a difference between.
Apologies.
But as we. But as we know,
being a good midfielder,
right?
Being a good top team
right.
driver, and both of them, both Pierre and Alex, failed pretty miserably against Max. But
did they not compared to where we're rocking now?
Yeah.
Pierre was crushing it. He was P6. They would kill for P6. Although Yuki did well.
No, he came behind Pierre. He came 12th.
Oops.
He came 12th after starting in like 7th.
I don't, but like, so, Steven said it's not voodoo to throw inexperienced people and offer no support and expect good results. But like, Max and Seb did it. And they're like, well, you had more support. But like, did they? Like, why would, like, they were of the Red Bull driver program too. Like, they have no incentive to like.
Yeah, Max and Pierre had basically the same number of races in a Toro Rosso before promotion.
Again, this is probably my most dude bro problematic take, but like my opinion is if you need a hug and a cookie to succeed in Formula One, you don't have the correct psychology to be a champion. Because there's always going to be moments where you are there. You need to be able to like. There's always going to be moments where you are like not where your back is against the wall, where you have to do like be selfish and ruthless, and you're not going to feel supported, and it's going to be there's going to be controversy, and these things just happen in
but Nico spoke German to Toto, so therefore he's a scumbag.
That's the funniest thing in the world to me, because if it was anybody but Lewis, it would be so problematic to be like, he should have spoken English out of respect. Sorry, I thought,
Yeah, but Lewis Hamilton has never. Yeah, but it's illegal to say that Lewis Hamilton lied, even though that man has lied. Has probably
imagine if
any F1 driver ever, just because he's been around for this long.
Imagine if I got on the internet.com and complained about a coworker I didn't like speaking to our boss in German. Imagine the reaction to that right now. I would be murdered. And people.
But like Lewis just making up a Canada upgrade this week at Team LH, being like, "Are you dare accusing Lewis Hamilton?" Yes, I am. I fully am, because he's making it.
All of these people lie all of the time. It's not a crazy thing to suggest. Like,
they don't. Their job is to control a narrative, is to spin a narrative, is to weave a narrative. Their job is not to tell the truth. Okay?
And Lewis Hamilton is but I'm rooting for Lewis's narrative, because I'm like, this is maybe the only thing that can overcome the like evil Ferrari like curse of like, it's always the driver's fault. I'm like, it's not going to be as easy to do that to Lewis. He is good at the game. But my thing is like, with the speaking English thing is like, people try to make it like a class thing, because it's like, oh, well, Nico had all of these opportunities, like blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that argument falls apart when you understand the reality that rich people in England don't speak other languages either, or America for that matter. Like, Lewis could have been the Prince of England, and he still wouldn't speak German. It's purely a geographical coincidence why Nico speaks a million languages. It has absolutely nothing to do with class, because upper class people in England, like, don't be wrong, like, Nico is vastly more privileged than Lewis, but privileged people in England don't speak other languages. In fact, it's mostly.
And even like many working class Europeans still will do at least 2, if not 3 languages. And Nico, because Nico's like, I say this in the nicest way possible. But Nico's like a European thought, right? Like,
well, yeah, he's like the son of nowhere because his dad's Finnish, his mom's German. He grew up in Monaco. Like the reason he speaks French, well, he speaks German because of his family, his mom, but and I'm assuming his dad also speaks German, so I'm assuming they spoke German at home. He speaks French and Italian because he grew up in Monaco, and he speaks English because he has to. Like there's and also the whole not speaking in German thing is like, why is Lewis the only one who's allowed to be petty? They weren't speaking to each other, and he's clearly being an asshole and like underscoring the fact that they're not speaking to each other, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that you have to understand that Lewis Hamilton has never done anything wrong.
It's not wrong.
Which is a far more infantilizing and frankly racist view of Lewis Hamilton, to think that you can't treat Lewis Hamilton like he is an active participant
in the feud,
the choices of his own life.
Right. Well, it's like they were in a feud. Lewis was doing petty shit too. It was hilarious. Like I don't like not mentioning his name for 5 years. Amazing. Like, but imagine if that situation had been reversed. Nico is erasing the legacy. But like that. Wait, this comment is killing me. The rich people in England do speak other languages, Latin and ancient Greek. Okay, point taken. But my thing is like, in America, I would wager that more middle class people or working class people speak other languages than rich people because of like like immigrants are like, because of a wide variety of factors, like tend to skew more toward that side of the financial spectrum. Obviously it's a spectrum, right? But also like you tend to just be around more people that speak other languages if you're like a regular person than if you're like living in waspland, you know what I mean?
Waspland, yes.
That's what it is.
And there's just like an arrogance of, if you only interact with other wasps, or mostly interact with other wasps, that you can get away with being the thing. Like there's a great story of Angela Merkel and who was the Sarkozy, when like they had to negotiate in English because that was the only language the two of them shared.
That's funny.
Because he didn't speak German and she didn't speak French. So they would talk in English, but then when they wanted to swear at each other, they would just start swearing at each other in their own language.
Hell yeah.
They'd have to bring interpreters, translators in to like settle it. But basically, if the advisors outside the room heard English, they knew everything was fine. And if they heard Merkel, calling him a fucking piece of shit in German, everything was everything was ruined.
No. Listen, the whole English thing, it's like, I don't know what to tell you. England won colonization. I wasn't there. It was bad, but like that's what happened. Like, would you rather be speaking fucking Dutch right now? Like, that's your other option. Spanish actually is way better than English, so I kind of wish it was them. But like, England was good at boats like 500 years ago, and now we're here. Like, this isn't my fault. I wish I spoke other languages, but also like the necessity, like the drivers learn English because they have to. Like it's we are spoiled because the language of like business and the internet and whatever is English, so we weren't forced to. You know what I mean? And there's no and honestly, the only reason I have the Spanish that I have is because I dated a guy from Mexico and I'm nosy as hell and I hated him talking on like, oh, I had to know. He's talking on the phone. I don't know what he's saying. You gotta. I spoke better Spanish than I've ever spoken about. But just that like tangential exposure for like whatever the year it was that we dated, I learned so much and I've lost a lot of it now, but it just goes to show you like America is also so much less densely populated than Europe, which I feel like is a very underrated fact. And so you interact with less people, a less of it, not less people, but a less variety of people in general.
Well, and the other thing is, like, respectfully, there was always going to be someone was always going to get. There needs to be I don't want to be blunt about it, but like a global default language. There just has to be one. Like, we can argue about why it's English, and obviously we are both lucky that we talk the default.
Yeah, it's a roulette spin of where you're born if you get English naturally. Not natural. Obviously, anyone learning to speak, that's still natural. But I just mean like as your first language. But
Your default, yeah.
right, but right. Logistically speaking, it's like a problematic take, but like anyone who's existed in the real world for more than 45 seconds can understand like why it is vastly beneficial to like global commerce and also just like diplomacy and human interaction in general for there to be a default language. And it's that for a lot of reasons, but the main reason is because England was really good at boats 1,000 years ago and were evil and used their boats for evil.
But like, I just don't see like. Also, I would just like to point out that for all of the Lewis Hamilton is one of only like 2 drivers on the grid that was like actually like meaningfully poor.
They weren't poor. They were.
I know. I'm not even teeing you up for that, right? Like, we get it. There's like middle class and like there's like makes a good amount of money.
Right. They were just regular people.
To fund, a 6-figure,
right,
multi-year commitment to this shit. But that's not the point I want to make. The point I want to make is Nico Rosberg exists. And Nico Rosberg is an extremely important figure in the Lewis Hamilton arc and the Lewis Hamilton story.
The parents of it all is a very underrated part of the Mercedes arc because they're both still close with each other's parents too. And Lewis is close with Vivian. I'm like, what?
Well, the thing is, like, if Jackie isn't basically like guilted by Nico into like helping out his childhood friend, like, is Lewis Hamilton the WDC right now? Does he make F1 right now?
Yeah.
Or is he just like a lawyer?
No. He still had McLaren at that point. Like, I think he would.
Did he not get McLaren for Keke?
No, the point is if you come from not a Keke Rosberg, Lawrence Stroll, Adam Norris level of wealth, you have to get lucky. Like, that's just, it's not Lewis. It's anyone whose family doesn't have a spare $250K a year lying around. You know what I mean? Which is a high bar. Like, even Ocon, Pierre also, like, I don't think his family was by any stretch of the imagination poor, but they could not afford for him to do F1. They flew to Brazil and like got scammed on a sponsor. Like, even Jensen, reading Jensen's book, like, they had to go to Spain and make this like crazy deal with this like sketchy business. Like, you have to get lucky ultimately, unless your parents can front the cash.
Right, yeah. I'm not acting like Keke Rosberg is the only person to have ever, helped a friend, but like, it is just funny to me that people do this like hard scrabble, bootstraps story of Lewis's F1 heritage, and it's like he also had a former WDC do quite a lot to help him along the way.
No, that is the truth.
I've just chosen to not talk about.
Well, because we can't talk about the thing. Wait, I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick. I will be right back.
Okay, well, I can. No. And to be clear, like, that's fine. I'm not saying like Lewis is not some like fraud because Keke like helped him out. Like, that's not the that's not the point I'm making. Obviously, there's the Jules Bianchi of it, which we also don't talk about, but that's just because it's like we should have seen Bianchi out there. Like, that is one of the great what ifs of the last 10, 15 years. Of F1 is what could have been, if not for Japan, 2014, yeah. So, but like, you just have to get lucky sometimes. Like, there is a certain amount of luck to it, and that's fine. It's just funny to me that Team LH have decided that they are going like full, every politician lives in a log cabin that they built themselves when it comes to Lewis's upbringing. Good drive from Lewis today, I will say.
He did have a good drive. Wait, also, can I show you guys my bookshelf? I made it myself.
Ooh, nice.
One of the trim corners popped off, so it's just being glued into place a little bit. But yes, I'm in my carpentry era. I'm gonna move to the.
Can I get a take off about Lewis though today?
Sure.
Him getting driver of the day for going like pit lane to P7 is unfortunately giving immense Checo Perez vibes.
I think that having a take about driver of the day is loser behavior. I love you, but it's driver of the day.
For 12 seconds.
That's fair. That's fair.
Did not care about it. It's just really funny to me that Lewis fans used to make fun of Checo for that. Like,
well,
used to make fun of it because it was like because Checo had like 7 drivers of the day, and it was all races where he was out qualified by again R.I.P. to the legend Logan fucking.
Logan Sargent getting a lot of play today on this live. I will say I got absolutely roasted one time because Team LH loves to do the thing where it's like start Lewis and insert teammate here. Lewis P start Lewis P19 and teammate P2, and like Lewis will end behind him. And I quote tweet, and I was like, "That's not the flex you think it is." And everyone was like, "Yes, it is. Like you're kill yourself." And I'm like, you guys realize that the goal is to finish ahead, right? Like we understand that that's the premise of the sport, right? Do we understand that? I don't think we do.
But also, like, respectfully, part of the reason that was true with George is that George was putting that car where it absolutely.
It's because Lewis. It's because Lewis, by his own admission, was struggling in qualifying, which, breaking news, is in fact part of it.
So Lewis was underperforming where the car should be.
Right.
And George was overperforming where the car should be.
I will say,
when you put the car as the world's #1 Charles Leclerc fan, what happens when you put the car where it doesn't belong in qualifying?
Unfortunate things. Like
you fall back because you don't
right.
have the pace.
And then the world's dumbest group of people calls you bad. It happens every time. And I will say it is somehow better to qualify
P3 and finish P3 than to get on pole position in a car that doesn't deserve pole position and then finish P3. In these people's minds.
Yes, which is crazy because again, I don't know if you know this, qualifying part of it. I will say in defense of Team LH, which I've been giving them a lot of flack recently. It's because I'm in the trenches of Twitter. Okay, I'm in the trenches, but it's purely a function. Team LH is not inherently more deranged than other fandoms. It's a function of numbers, right? Like
Lando's fandom is way more deranged per capita.
Per capita, agree. But also, it's just a function of numbers. There are, like, I would say every fandom, it's about 5 to 10% of the people. And what obviously when Lewis has double the amount of fans as everybody else, that 5% is gonna be a lot more people and be a lot louder than it is in maybe some other places.
Yeah, I mean it's like the Taylor Swift fandom. There are like, are you aware of the great group of Taylor Swift fans who are convinced that she is gay?
Oh, the Gaylors! Yes, the craziest people in the world, truly.
I love them so much.
I am obsessed with them. Like, I genuinely this is like my most problematic take because, like, real talk, these people are like deeply mentally ill and need help. I'm like, it's worrying, and I like shouldn't laugh at them because it's like concerning behavior. But I can't help it because it's so amazing. Yeah. Did you know they think that Travis Kelce is in a secret gay relationship with another football player?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a thing. As opposed to like, and the funniest thing is like people don't say it like too publicly, but I'll occasionally see tweets or like TikToks that are just like, you do realize like from people in Kansas City who are just like, you do realize that we've seen like 5 times times in the last 2 months. Like, just like a random, like, waiter or waitress that, like.
Right. It's almost like they're not in a secret relationship to cover up both of them being gay.
No, but it's like, but it is the case that it's just like, if you actually are locked in on like Kansas City Twitter or Kansas City social medias, people see them all the time.
Right. I don't need to be locked in because now.
But Kansas City is like, but Kansas City understands that this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to them, and they are on a Nico Rosberg-esque "don't fuck this up" threat right now.
Obsessed.
Like,
yeah.
But it's just like, because they're just like, they just don't want to fuck it up. They want her to keep coming. You know,
right.
Great for them.
No,
like,
I will say.
She's there all the fucking time.
I will say this. Now, do I think that Taylor Swift is a secret lesbian? Absolutely not. If you think that, genuinely seek help. Do I think that she and Carly Kloss had the canon event, way too close friendship situationship that may or may not have crossed the line, and then Taylor Swift wrote a few songs about it? Yes, but she politely asked us not to talk about it, so stop fucking talking about it.
Do we think Taylor Swift has ever used a woman at it?
Definitely not. They just... No. Definitely. Okay. Again, wildly parasocial. We don't know. Right where you left me... you're talking about a Jewish wedding, girly pop. Like, it's hard. We know what that song's about. Again, I will politely look away as you have requested. No, they give the vibe. Yep. They, to me, give the vibe, if I may project my own life experiences onto Taylor Swift for a minute, of the friends who hook up sometimes when they're drunk and just never speak about it again. And that doesn't extend, that's more of a fumbling, make-out, touching session than full-on sex, if that makes sense.
Okay. It's just like, these people are insane. And I love it.
Deranged behavior.
Like, I don't know, but it's just like, it's the same thing. Like, there are deranged people in every fandom that hits a certain...
Well, and now also people...
You were way more in the One Direction streams than me, but like, that sounds insane as well.
I was in the trenches because and I will say the Taylor Swift thing, it definitely is that, like, the crazies, it's like, they used to do this to the Beyonce fans, you know what I mean? But I also think...
Going to the Beyonce fans is just the dumbest thing you can do in life.
Well, but they were the original...
England wins!
Yay! But the Beehive was the original, like, oh, they're so crazy, like, don't touch them with the 10-foot pole, you know what I mean? But, so I have to tip my cap to the Beehive. They've been fighting this fight a long time. But it's also, as a long-time Taylor, I was defending Taylor Swift down at the lunch table when everyone hated her because she was dating Harry Styles, and they wanted to date Harry Styles. But it started like this. Everyone hated Taylor Swift. Her songs are stupid and dumb, and she only sings about her ex-boyfriends. Nobody cares. Then 1989 came out, and 1989 is the greatest pop album of all time, and so people were forced to admit that they liked it. And so then it was, I like her music, but I don't like her. And then slowly over time, by being a transparent tryhard and by ethering Kanye West, you couldn't really be like, I don't like her anymore, without it being like, just... And also, like, she doesn't write about relationships and sex any more than the general musician population, and that has been proven mathematically. So now it's, well, I like Taylor Swift, but I just don't like her fans, because people don't like to like things that are popular. And I saw, oh my god, I heard this in a TikTok the other day. I wish I remembered where it was, but it was like, hating things because they're cool is just as lame as liking things because they're cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. Can we back to F1 actually? Because this was,
yeah.
I did think of this while we were doing that discourse moment. Like, Can we take a moment to appreciate that Mattia Binotto did make a massive fuck up, or whoever ran strategy for Mattia Binotto's team made a massive fuck up today?
Oh, what? I couldn't.
They paid Nico Hulkenberg for quite literally zero reason.
Sure, I'll agree with you.
Up a points place for nothing.
I'll agree.
10th, and he just sat there, and Gasly just inherited in 10th place by doing nothing.
Making a strategy mistake, a likely place for Mattia Binotto to be. But also, I would be lying to you if I said I could tell you anything that happened to either Sauber car during this race. So sure, you can be right.
No, there was like a Tim Orders moment, and then they eventually got Bortoletto ahead, but then Bortoletto didn't do anything with the being ahead, but they never made them swap back because Hulkenberg had. I might have had money on Gasly to come in the points, and so I was watching that race for 10th very tightly.
That's fair. That's fair. You do have your Pierre Gasly agenda to think about. The problem when Nico is on the broadcast is like I'm so Nico pilled that like I'm almost not even fully tuned into my Charles.
He's not in the race, like even if he's just like was just there.
No, not during the race, but also it's like I have to clip everything. Like I'm trying to, I got tweets to get off.
But also Charles was on that broadcast for precisely about 7 seconds of this race.
Well, that's okay because I'm almost never watching the actual. I have the volume of the broadcast on, and then.
Oh, are you one of these hipsters who's like, I have to have the onboard on?
Yeah, because I need to see what's happening to Charles at all times. I think I would prefer that the main feed just focused exclusively on Charles, but unfortunately, that is not an option that they offer.
See, my driver is the king of get shown 3 times and just don't exist. And I'm like, I don't know. They'll tell me if something important.
I'm locked into Charles the whole time. Because you don't have to deal with Ferrari. You need to be 130% focused on every single element at any single time. Otherwise, you could miss a way in which they wildly screw Charles over and then try to cover it up.
I mean, in fairness to Mercedes, I never ranted about this. Mercedes, I get it. You want to bank your 10 points. Who gives a shit? Fucking pick. Try something. Make this race entertaining. You just sat your ass in P5.
Yeah, they were boring.
Fall apart. Do something. Try literally anything.
Me?
Max? Red Bull, you didn't want to try? Get Max a podium? Try something.
They were Charles at the
3 seconds a lot faster than George Russell. And Mercedes looked at that and went, nah, we can't do anything with that.
Pass him then, Kimmy. The next Max Verstappen can't get by George Russell?
Well, no, he actually couldn't get by, like, Esteban Ocon, actually. The Kimi Antonelli discourse, no man has been screwed over by his.
Yeah, no. The thing is, unfortunately, he seems like such a sweet child, and I really am rooting for him. But the agenda.
It was a very good weekend. It was a very good weekend for you and I. Is why are we firing George Russell for this kid agenda?
Unfortunately, my agenda fan brain is very. It's not his fault at all. It's literally Toto. But the fact that they were like, oh, it doesn't matter that Lewis left. We have Kimi Antonelli. Fuck you. It made me. Again, I am.
Did you seriously defend George Russell for the first time ever?
Yes. Because it's ridiculous. I don't even like George Russell, but it's ridiculous to imply that Kimi Antonelli has more potential than George Russell. What he got a pole? You know who else has gotten many poles? George Russell. What has he done to be the next Max Verstappen?
I would just like to point out that George Russell is one of only 2 drivers this season to beat both McLarens in qualifying. In Grand Prix.
Okay, no, he's done good.
Sprint, but that's fine.
This is
George Russell. It's George and Max are the only 2 people who have beaten both McLarens.
George is really good. I don't know, I feel I like Kimmy. He seems very sweet. His mom seems nice. I think he's also like 12. I do not wish to watch children suffer, right? But I feel like I'm being gaslit. Like what are we doing here? That they're like, "Oh, well, obviously you'd get rid of George. Obviously you'd get rid of." That's like saying, "Oh, obviously you'd get rid of Fernando." That's the results that have been on the table. And now, Grant, Kimi Antonelli has suffered. Like, I don't think the fact that he's never beaten George is wholly a reflection of his skill, right? But at the end of the day, I also don't really believe in luck either. And George Russell has had his share of problems. And I just, it's so, it made me defend George Russell, who I don't really care about beyond the fact I don't dislike, I like George in that, like, I find him a wildly amusing character. I don't think I'd ever want to be in the same room with him. He's why I'm scared of British people. Like, that genre of British people I find deeply unsettling. They kind of freak me out, if I'm honest. Like, I just feel like they give like it gives like I hunt people, you know? But I in he's a great character in F1. Writing a 5-paragraph essay about how much he hates Max Verstappen over a beef over an impeding penalty is the funniest thing that's ever happened. And he's good. But to be safe, I don't know. I just sometimes when the world has like a collective just accepts something, I'm like, I feel like I'm going crazy here.
Well, it's that F1 is the most hot girl of the club sport. And George is like boring in like a very specific, like, he's just kind of dependable, reliable, and like, you know, he had his hype cycle a few years ago, and he quote unquote hasn't been off the hype through no fault of his own.
He beat Lewis. What else do you want him to do?
Win a championship. But the problem is Mercedes can't figure out a fucking ground effects car.
Well, if you are really like George Russell should have won a championship by now, you're a dumb idiot. And I don't think you should legally be allowed to hold an opinion.
Yeah, okay, but there are also people who genuinely, legitimately think that the pole conversion ratio proves Charles Leclerc's a fraud, okay? So,
yeah, but those people are Lando Norris fans. Those aren't truly people.
In fairness, it's the same people doing this with both of them, right? Because it's people who seem to think that, like, legitimately, like, results are the thing that matter about F1 statistics.
Long term, I think that's true. Like 10 years from now, when we're looking back on it, sure. But in terms of determining future,
Norris has not been a better driver than George Russell up until now, just because he has more race wins and pole positions.
Right. When it comes to determining the future, it has, I would say, almost nothing to do with it. Honestly, I mean, I agree with that measurement when we're looking back in 20 years, but we're not looking back in 20 years. We're talking about what's going to happen next year.
Yeah, and it's like, it's just funny. So I will say, there's like a brand of Charles fan that is being dickish about George right now, because it's like, because people have been like, oh, George is second best driver on the grid, and it's like, to be clear, I actually still think it is Charles over George. I do.
I'm not going to fault someone for thinking their driver is the best. That's like kind of what we're doing here.
Right, but also, like, I think it's Max number one on a mini tier above Charles and George, and you can put Charles.
Absolutely not. It's Lewis number one.
In terms of current production, not all time.
Oh, okay, fine. Max.
In terms of you are picking a driver for a 2016.
Yeah.
Everyone's released from your contract.
Okay, then yeah, Max. Duh.
It's Max 1. It's George and Charles 2, 3 in some order.
Lewis.
People can earn. I think Lewis is a definitive 4. And then you can literally you could tell me anybody is 5, and I pretty much agree with you. Like, Oscar could be 5, Alex could be 5.
I'm trying to think who I would. Pierre's a stretch. But that, I'm just a hater. I'm sorry. That was mean of me.
Pierre Gasly has it's in terms of outside of the top 7 drivers, okay? So the 2 McLarens, the 2 Mercedes, the 2 Ferraris, and Red Bull.
No, I need to.
Alex Albon is number 1 And Pierre's number 2 in best Q3 appearances. And Pierre Gasly has like 7 Q3 appearances in the last place car.
You're right. That was bad of me. The minute it came out of my mouth, I said, this is coming from a place of anti-French bias. I don't even really believe this.
I think I would go Albon over Pierre. I think that's who I would say is 6.
I would too, but that's only because
Piastri's in this conversation.
I would also pick Alex, but that's only because I like Alex.
Because I think Oscar's just winning a bit off against Lando, and I don't think that's that impressive.
Oscar is better than George and Charles. Oscar can barely beat Lando Norris, so let's settle down.
Yeah, like I think the Oscar is better than Charles and George. It's like, no, he has the best car on the grid, and is only 16 points ahead of Lando Norris after 13 races.
Yeah, Oscar's performed much more consistently over the last year and a half. It's almost like for his entire career, he's had the best car on the grid, and again, is barely managing to beat Lando Norris. Unless you think that Lando Norris also belongs in that conversation, but like,
in Charles' second season,
for me, Oscar, Oscar is
second season in F1 in a car he didn't fit in. He qualified like within a tenth of Valtteri Bottas. Again, in a car he literally was too tall for.
Right. My thing with Oscar, if I'm going to give a serious take, is that I really just don't feel like I have enough data to like form a real opinion. Like he hasn't been in like enough different and there have been points where I'm like feel like I have enough data to like form a real opinion. Like he hasn't been in like enough different and there have been points where I'm like, oh damn, like I've been really impressed by him, but then you can't out qualify Lando Norris. You know what I mean? So I need like 3 more years on Oscar Piastri before I can have a real opinion. If we're being honest.
And then here's the thing about Piastri, right? What is his like immediate like holy Jesus wow like rookie season or second year moment that made everybody go like, oh my god, how did he do that? For Charles?
Monza.
Q3. Okay, fine. That's a year and a half in. But like Charles in the South.
Oh, what do you mean? You were the leader of he's only a 53 race old rookie contingent.
Because my argument was that the McLarens were probably going to have the faster car and Lando sucks.
Well, that's true.
Like, I'm sorry, my arguments are entirely consistent here. But like, when Charles was in that Sauber, right, he was so good, so immediately in that Sauber that they were like, we need to fire Kimi Räikkönen for him, right?
Yeah.
And then that Brazil, getting into Q3 in Brazil and that Sauber is incredible, right? George Russell, the first race of the 2022 season, he puts that car in the wet into Q2, not Q3, Q2, and Brundle and Crofty act like he just put the car on pole position because of how impressive it was that George Russell got a car into Q2. And they acted like he parted the fucking Red Sea, okay? That he fed the entire world with loaves and fishes.
The concept of George Russell as Jesus would be, I would join George Russell's cult. Oh, 1,000.
That is how impressive George's things were immediately. Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri was get out qualified by your teammate and pass him on the first lap of a race.
The qualifying remains an issue, I will say. It's the reason why he's not suffering from it as much because Lando Norris is addicted to losing places on lap 1. It's a bizarre fetish that he has. But that, I mean, in any other situation, that would be a problem. But Oscar, he has...
Which of these drivers, if Max Verstappen was in Oscar Piastri's seat, would he have more than a race wins lead would he have more than a 25-point lead over Lando Norris right now?
Max Verstappen, I'll look dead in the camera and say this. If Max Verstappen was Lando Norris's teammate, he would have a 100-point lead right now. I don't even know if that's technically possible. I'm really bad at the math part of this whole thing, but I believe that deep within my soul. And I don't even like Max Verstappen.
If Charles Leclerc was Lando Norris's teammate, would he have more than 25?
I think he would be winning more definitively. I'm not willing to stand on the Max of it all because I can back up that take less. And also because when people are mean to me about Charles, it hurts me deep in my soul. And when people are mean to me about Max, I'm like, whatever. Also, like, I'm so stressed. If I can have a meta moment about existing publicly as an F1 fan, not to make it about me, because Charles Leclerc doesn't know me and owes me nothing and is like a human being that wants to win because of his own deeply personal reasons. I need this motherfucker to win a world championship because I care. The other day was thinking about this. I was in the car. I was like, I care way too much. Like at the end of the day, I'm lucky because I look around at some other people. Like I have Seb. Seb will always be my number one. But I was like, Charles is closer to that level than I would probably care in a way that like it will kill me inside if he never wins a world championship. I don't know if I can do the Ollie thing. I gotta start like clockwork oranging myself out of this. Is there another rookie? I've been so mean to Kimmy and now maybe I have to be a Kimmy stan, but I like Kimmy, but he's Italian. I can't risk actually that's crazy. I can't risk an Italian.
Well, no, because Kimmy, that's the other reason why Mercedes should not fire George is that the second there is a firm.
Oh, I do really like
to Kimmy Antonelli, he will leave for Ferrari.
I do like Isaac. I will say he could be a good investment.
He's just he's Red Bull driver program though. He's
Yeah.
gonna get in that seat. His career's gonna be rubber. Also, he's French. You hate the French.
I do hate the French.
Pick a lane on the French. Bortoletto.
No, Nelson Piquet affiliations. Absolutely not.
But the Fernando and the Piquet mean that's not an option.
Yeah. I was about to say the Fernando is worse, but no. In real life hat on. Obviously not. Fan hat on.
Can you get behind,
yes.
Can you get behind Dev's F2 guy? What the fuck is that? The Red Bull Junior guy. Lindblad.
I don't know him yet. And I refuse to do the feeder series because it's too early in the morning. And also the children stress me out. Like I understand on a logical level that like obviously they have to start as kids. You can't just like wake up one day when you're 25 and do this. But watching children risk their lives is not fun for me. Like I am very stressed the whole time. And also F2 is fucking erratic. They are crashing all the time. And also you get attached and then they don't go to Formula One. I'm sorry. I need you to get into F1 first. That's the baseline. I can't get attached before that because 99% of them don't make it to Formula One.
No, Lindblad feels like he might be like a meeting place for you and Dev.
That's true. And well, also Dev is she's a good bellwether on like who I should be paying attention to. I definitely cheat off of her on that stuff all of the time.
But that's just like it looks like he's like really fast. Helmut Marko has said like very, very good things about him in a way that like feels more real than what he said about like Lawson or Hadjar. And frankly, a British Indian with a Swedish last name is just like the perfect kind character.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, he is going to be a star. That's a good point. You're right. There's hope around the corner. Franco Colapinto being a flop.
Now you don't have to feel bad about the Red Bull thing, or not as bad about the Red Bull thing because
I mean, Helmut Marko is still the Prince of Darkness, but like I'm reasonably certain that Helmut Marko is a vampire that feeds off of the souls of the failed Red Bull juniors. Like that man. And the fact that he has a weekly fucking column, like he's Carrie Bradshaw, it's everything about him. But I ignore Helmut Marko because I believe that obviously stuff needs to be called out, whatever. Like Helmut Marko, his kryptonite is being ignored. Like if we all just collectively ignored Helmut Marko, he wouldn't be able to do this anymore.
I mean, yeah. I think the real answer is just that we need Nico Rosberg to buy an F1 team.
It's gonna happen.
Isn't Alpine for sale? Can he buy them?
He is like weirdly associated with Flavio.
But like better that than this like high tech but corner back to bid thing that's like kind of sort of being talked about.
Yeah. He owns a VC firm, but like they just did that whole thing about like, oh, 100 million under investment. Like you're gonna need a lot more money than $100 million if you want to buy a formula. Like, does Nico Rosberg have F1 team money? Maybe he's had a trust fund since birth, but like I just don't. We don't know enough about the nature of Nico Rosberg's finances.
He has pony up 4% of the money, be the front man for the bid, and then get paid out in increasing amounts of stock based on how good.
No, I need him to be Toto Wolff. I'm sorry. I need him to be the team principal. Obviously, why else would he buy a team?
Yeah, no, I know. That'll be fun. Nico's team principal era. Can we just get the entire grid to be ex Mercedes players as team principal? Like James Allison go take over Alpine, Toto or Nico take over McLaren. You know, Vowles stays at Williams for a while.
No, I think okay, because here's the vision. I want
Lewis Hamilton team principal for McLaren in 5 years.
No, Lewis will never do something so full time. I totally see Lewis in the Nicky role because Lewis has got other shit to do. Like being a team principal is like probably more of a time commitment even than being a driver because you don't have to like do all the workouts and the stuff when you're at home. So like maybe overall, but like in terms of like being physically in the factory, like the team principal has to be there like virtually always. So Lewis has got shit to do. But and like so does Nico to an extent, but like what are you really is the sustainable yachting thing really taking up a sizable portion of your day? Like probably not. I feel like it's more like the kids, but like once children grow up, like you know what I mean? Once the kids are older and like are living their own lives, like he can have a job. But
do we think Nico
I see him in the Nicky role because then he can what?
Do we think Nico would ever want to live in England though?
No, that's the thing. Absolutely. He has never lived anywhere but Monaco in his whole life.
In Singapore for like 6 weeks in the fall, didn't it?
Well, yeah, but that's a trip. Like he has never moved. Like you have to move somewhere, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like he went going to Singapore. Like he was never going to stay. I'm not saying if you I think if you move somewhere for 6 months and you intend to stay for whatever, but like he was always going to go back to Monaco. I mean, he has children, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the F1 thing would be permanent. Like he would have to.
Somebody needs to move a factory to fucking Marseille or whatever.
Like here's the question: does Vivian Rosberg want to move to England? And if I had grown up in Monaco and split time between Spain and Monaco, I would probably not want to move to Milton Keynes, if I'm honest.
Somebody needs to move their factory to. Is Marseille or Nice closer to Monaco? I feel like.
Well, Nice is like right there.
Okay, so then Nice. Somebody needs to move a factory to like a farm field between Nice and Monaco.
Yeah, they really.
Wait, how often is Toto at Brackley then?
I would have to imagine a considerable amount of the time, because I know that like the F1 Academy stuff, a lot of that stuff is at Silverstone.
Yeah.
Like the office wise.
I mean, I just find Monaco, like, I just find the fact that Monaco is so associated with F1 to be fascinating.
It's a tax haven. Most of them probably don't live there any more days of the year than they have to legally qualify as residents.
Yeah, but it's just so funny that, like, a place has become so identified with, like, one specific event. Like, a sport that only is in Monaco 3 days a year. And yet, if you think of Monaco, one of the first things you think of is the Grand Prix and the F1.
Yeah, they have a thing. I feel like that's how you gain notoriety. Like, no offense, but like, do people really know what Andorra is in the same way that they know what Monaco is? No, they got a thing.
So what you're saying is that the only reason that Andorra isn't a global powerhouse is because they did not make it.
Monaco's not a global powerhouse.
People know what it is.
Well, I mean, is geopolitical might measured in a Q score? I don't think so. But in terms of like recognition and like prestige, let's say, yeah, you gotta have a thing. You gotta have gotta get your name out there. You know, there's a lot of countries. You gotta stand out. Pandora, if you want me to do your PR, I'd love to. It seems like a beautiful place.
Should Andorra make golf their thing? Like,
that'd be cool.
Should they try and create the fifth major, and it's just the Andorra Championship?
Yeah, I maintain that if you made like a sick golf course, like beautiful wise, like think about TV. You know what I mean? You could. Ever since you said that the US Open should like build their own signature golf course, I'm like, yeah, like do something crazy. Like put it in like the mountains. You know what I mean? That would be mountain golf. And they would love it because the ball would go further.
It's just like golf needs. I hire me to be the new commissioner of golf. I will make that sport so much more popular than it is. It'll be great. Also, I have to say, I can't listen to another golf person be like, we need to, like, F1-ify this sport, you know? Like, no, because you know what?
People are like...
does a pretty good job of. The one thing F1 does a very good job of that golf doesn't do is showing you, is narrativizing up and down the grid, right? When Lewis Hamilton got COVID, the fact that everyone's initial reaction was...
We bullied Toto Wolff.
You guys bullied Mercedes into putting George in the car. Nico Rosberg being like, "Hey Toto, get George in the car."
Nico Rosberg, that is still a very underrated Nico Rosberg story. Is I don't think he particularly knew George or like was, you know, he's not like George's manager or anything. He just, of his own volition, called Toto Wolff and was like, you have to put George in the car. And he did that for the plot. And that is why I love Nico Rosberg.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, we you know, when Ollie came in for Carlos last year, right? Like, that was like a big, significant story. And everyone was like super hyped for it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I also think that like here's the reason that you Drive to Survive doesn't work in the Drive to Survive way with other sports. I will say I like all the football ones, but that's because I like football, and also because I feel like football does such a bad job of showing us who these people are. Like as silly as things like Grill the Grid and whatever, those little funny clips, it just gives you exposure to these people talking. You know what I mean? There are so many players who I know so many things about that I've never heard talk. Like only the quarterback and like the coach and like maybe one other significant player will do a press conference, and like the press conferences there are not F1 press conferences, I'll tell you that. And because the reporters are really scared of them. But but also F1, they're all fucking crazy. Like that's the difference. Like F1 is and also F1 in general is just like very like it's like it's not real. It's a sitcom. Like it's fake. You know what I mean? Like shit happens and it's just like it's so unserious. But Lewis like it didn't Drive to Survive just captured what is already there. They didn't have like there's no in it's so much more like intimate in terms of the interpersonal drama, and I don't mean that in like the most literal of senses. I just mean they're traveling the world because of the team element of it, and like but it's not really a team sport. It's just very they all clearly and they all choose to live in college dorms in Monaco for some reason. They like Lewis Hamilton was tweeting out fucking confidential quali data to settle and beefing with Jensen for not following him on Twitter in 2011. They didn't need Drive to Survive. Drive to Survive needed them.
Yeah, and I think the thing as somebody who came to the sport sort of at the same time as Drive to Survive, but not because of Drive to Survive, like, I have always said this, is that the thing that we crave is authenticity, or at the very least we think we crave authenticity, right? Because when people are actually authentic, we call them crazy, but, whatever, it's a separate argument. We think we crave authenticity.
We want you to be perfect and do it as convincingly as possible. But you can't act like you're trying, but you have to be perfect.
Right. But like I've thought about this a lot. Like one of the things that makes one of the things I have always thought is the most interesting question you can ask somebody is like, what's their music taste, right? Like, what is their what kind of stuff makes them tick? Because you learn a lot about people from sort of stuff that is not, directly like, please trauma dump to me everything, right? Like, and it's just, I find, like, stuff that is revealing or useful or whatever, it's like, F1 has done a pretty good job of that, right?
Yeah.
So think of all, like, the C-squared challenges, shit, where, they would, like, work the music thing or whatever, and Charles would be like, would know, like, every word of a Coldplay song, but not know whoever else, right?
Right.
That tells me a lot. That makes me like Charles, like
No, it humanizes them in a way, because just like listening to them talk about anything, you know what I mean? Like and I will say, yes, like, but also the way they act is so funny and insane, and I genuinely think there is a correlation to the personality type that you need to succeed in F1. Like can you imagine if an NFL player, can you imagine if Josh Allen wrote if Patrick Mahomes made a shady which would already never happen, made a shady comment in the press conference about something Josh Allen did in a game, penalty wise, and then Josh Allen wrote a 7-paragraph essay about how much he hated Patrick Mahomes and that he was a violent psychopath. That imagine that would never happen. I can't even picture it.
Even that would be the only thing talked about
forever.
The hour on a 3-hour first take. They would literally toss the rundown and only talk about this. They would be calling people that you never even like. They would just be calling everybody like, "Hey, what's your take? You want 10 minutes on first take today? Let's go. We're just only talking about this."
Or everybody's gonna. Nobody would ever a full McKinsey PowerPoint presentation on why Josh Allen is a terrible person. Literally, like, why, like, that they just act in a manner that I also think it's a side effect of the fact that, like, their world is such a bubble and, like, it's the best. I think they should let them fight.
Well, the other thing, of course, you have to remember is that these people have just spent substantially less time in formal education than anybody else. And I don't mean that from like, oh, they're dumb standpoint. Because, like, it's not like the average hockey player in Canada is that dumb, but, like, you maybe miss a Friday if you're good at, like, hockey, right? And you're, like, if you're, like, 16, you know, and you got to go play for, like, whoever, you maybe miss a Friday, right? In F1, like,
You don't go to high school.
You got to go kart in Spain, bro.
Right. No, they do go to school, some of them, but
you're in Manchester, but like you gotta be there for a karting tournament. And, like you gotta be in Spain, right, bitch?
Right.
You're gone for this like half of like how would this whole thing about like Canadian Italy has to write his exam. What are we doing here?
I think it is crazy that he like imagine being in school, bro. Like I would be so mad that I had to go to school. I'd be like, come the fuck on, man. Like
but like what does that education plan look like? Is it just
you have to work it actually? So Jensen Button talks about this in his book. So what happened for him is that okay, first of all, this starts with my favorite Jensen Button story of all time, which is that when he was 14, he was going to start karting in Europe instead of just England, and he'd already been missing school for this. And his dad went to the school to talk about like to be like, hey, like he's going to have to be absent for this. And he had not told anybody that he did karting. How? Did nobody ask why you weren't in school?
I mean, did he just say like personal stuff?
Personal stuff is crazy when you're going to. Personal stuff implies that something horrible is happening to you.
Yeah, that a grandmother is an hospital.
Right. Like personal stuff is I would be like, oh, like I actually think it's kind of fucked up to say that. But
yeah, but it avoids people asking follow-up questions.
Right. Well, he wasn't at this point. He was only karting in England, so I would imagine that it was like they were taking a Friday. Like he went to school, like, but he.
Yeah, it was just the occasional Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
From, you know,
but that's why.
Can I ask a dumb question? Where in England is Jensen from?
I should know. It says in the book, but all of the names look the same to me. Like I don't know, like somewhere in a Christopher Robin. England exists to me only in the Jane Austen cinematic universe, but but that's why he was going to go to Europe, so he was going to have to be missing like weeks of school, so that's why he ended up having to go why John Button had to go to the school, obviously. But he still went, I think, through high school, but I feel like a lot of them probably um do some kind of like virtual or like whatever their version of like homeschooling for athletes is, because they like it's weird. They do like special sports schools like instead of whatever like after school.
That's more for like but that's more for like the soccer players and
I don't know about England.
Because it's just like, well, yeah, we just like need you to be able to claim you have a degree. That we like didn't just like force you to only
To me,
soccer at the age of 12.
Sending your child to sports, I think calling it a school, it at like the age that I do, it's very normal there. Like I get it. That is Looney Tunes to me. Like I can't. That's a baby. Like I don't know. So I was like, wow.
My honest take is that I am both incredibly grateful for everybody who puts their kids into some form of athletics, because we would not have athletes.
Right, we need sports.
Children, but also I do genuinely judge all of you and think that you are insane.
It depends. Like I think that there is a way to do it productively. I think that sports are overall good for kids, but particularly when it comes to like the more neat
soccer academies that you have to be in at like the age of 6.
6 is crazy. Because there's no way that you can tell if a 6-year-old is good enough to be like what about all the 6-year-olds that aren't good enough? What happens to them? That's what I want to know, and I feel like the answer is probably bad. Like at least in F1, if they flop, it's like, well, you had to have rich parents to get here, so like you're gonna be fine.
Oh, he's a Somerset boy. Oh, so he's Jacob Rees-Mogg territory. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Poshity posh. Poshity posh.
I don't think they were that well off. I mean, obviously, again, there's a starting price here.
If you could cart in Spain, then there's a
Well, no, the only reason he could cart in Spain is because they and they had to fly to like Sicily or like Cyprus or something to like meet this guy. But his dad,
He was funded by the mob.
yeah, kind of.
Okay, cool. Right.
I mean, not
Okay, love that.
also Flavio a little bit.
Yeah, so the mob.
He's got no mob connections. That's actually really rude and stereotypical of you to say. Just because he's Italian doesn't mean that he blew up his boss with a car bomb in 1974. I think it's fucked up of you to even say that. I stand on the wall of Flavio.
In fairness,
we don't know that
the person who was like, there was some video I sent you once of like Team Principles, the song that was #1 the day they were born. And somebody did a trigger warning for Christian Horner and Flavio Briatore, and you got so mad about this.
I'm triggered by their trigger warning. Okay, Flavio Briatore? Okay, real talk. The Epstein thing, I'm like, well, he dated Naomi Campbell. So, like, do we really... I don't think there's ever been any intonation that he's been creepy. Like, he also, like, could have bought drugs from him. Like, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, we don't... Listen, also, all of these people, old man billionaires. So, I'm not saying trust... They're bad people, all of them. But I wouldn't be in a room alone with him. But in terms of, I wouldn't be in a room alone with Toto Wolff, and he seems fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's the nature of, you just never know when you're playing with old man billionaires. Like, they kill people. So but Christian Horner is actively doing harm to women around him. Flavio Briatore not paying the taxes on the fuel for his yacht is not comparable to sexual harassment. What the fuck are we talking about? Like, that's why it really bothers me is not because of my Flavio arc. It's because it downplays what Christian Horner did, and that's like...
So what you're saying is that tax evasion is good and lawful and everybody should do it.
Don't do tax evasion or bankruptcy fraud. But what I will say is that running an illegal underground gambling ring and then also ripping off the rich people that you're running the underground illegal gambling ring for is funny. That's the funniest crime ever. I support that.
It is really a shame. It's not a good thing that, like, if your crime is funny, I am fully willing to forgive you for it.
No, I think that's how the criminal justice system...
I mean, the thing is, that's also true of, like, sports scandals, right? Which is why Deflategate, I have never managed to find moral indignation about it for a singular second.
It's so funny.
It's such a stupid conspiracy because Aaron Rodgers literally did an interview that year, like a pre-Thursday Night Football interview.
Well, and also just the fact...
the balls as, like, I don't remember, as inflated as possible, I think. Like, over the limit, because he's got, like, a massive hand or something, and, like, it feels better when he throws it.
Yeah. Really clarity on Horner. I would say that the woman in question, through her spokesperson, told the BBC that those texts were real, and Horner very conspicuously didn't deny it, and that tells me everything I need to know. But we'll find out in January, so we can all reserve our judgment until then. But you are...
Counterpoint, like, the idea that, like, we need to rely on institutions to tell us what we know.
No, we know. Exactly. You're right.
As a Canadian who has dealt with that whole thing this week. Like, no, actually, a 70-year-old fucking judge being like, well, actually, the guy who's coordinating in a group chat doesn't qualify as coordination because herp derp.
But regardless of whether it qualifies or not, we know those texts are real because they came out in court. Like, nobody's disputing the validity of those text messages. We all know what happened, regardless of whether or not that judge is wrong, which they are.
Correct. So therefore, no, I do not need the employment tribunal to tell me that Christopher Horner is a
right,
scumbag.
right. But I would also say that if those texts weren't real, she probably wouldn't have a hearing before the employment tribunal, which would just dismiss the case if there were doctored text messages anyway.
They would have already gotten them
dismissed. Right. They love to dismiss cases. They love it. But
anything to clear a docket.
Right. And so
can and will be done.
Exactly. So, but I will say that's also why, even though I'm low key a Ron Dennis hater, nobody said tell anyone that I said that, but Spygate is the funniest F1 crime of all time. And the fact that they would have gotten away with it if it weren't for Fernando Alonso having a mental breakdown is the best part.
I mean, or if the guy at the fucking kiosk wasn't a Ferrari fan.
The printing of the also an underrated part of it is that Ferrari
just buy a fucking fax machine themselves.
No, but that too. That's my number one Roman Empire is that McLaren couldn't absolutely afford a printer. But my another underrated part of it that I should talk about more is the fact that this guy emailed Ferrari, presumably 1000% seriously, being like, I have uncovered a conspiracy, and Ferrari believed him. Like, you just got an email from some random British guy being like, I uncovered a conspiracy. Maybe he attached some of the documents, but the fact that someone even read that email and was like, oh my God, we got to look into this.
But, like, did he just email, like, info@Ferrari?
I don't know, and that is my burning. That's my burning question. I don't even know that he emailed him. Like, I need to know how.
Did he just make another copy and like FedEx it to fucking
mailed it to Maranello with a letter? Maybe that might be the best way to reach them. Like, that's what in all of the articles that I've read about Spygate, and it's a lot of them, I've never been able to get the answer to my burning question. How did that man contact Ferrari? Who would have the answer? Domenicali?
Yeah, Domenicali would definitely know.
That would be my number. Imagine I get it. That's so funny. Imagine I get an interview with the CEO of Formula One. My number one question off the top would be, how did that man get in contact with you?
I feel like it wouldn't be like that difficult to find that out at some point. Like, to get like a friendly journalist to like ask that. Just because, like, I think Domenicali would admit it now because, like, well, it's not like he did anything wrong.
No, but they said, well, right. They said that they received the information. So I don't think.
Yeah, like, it's not like he's protecting any trade secret.
Right. And I need to know, but no matter what the method is, it's hilarious that they
listen.
Yeah, like that they were like this. Here's the thing. I bet this shit happens all of the time in F1. And we just don't know because people are not stupid enough to use a public copy machine. And then also the drivers aren't as insane as Fernando Alonso, and then in the second things don't go their way, they're like, let me burn everything to the ground. Which
how do we think? Like, do we think Lawrence Stroll just like accidentally recreated the W10 in 2020 with the big Mercedes? Like, no, that was presumably like gotten from not the most legitimate ways. But Mercedes didn't really care because they didn't have proof. / they built the fastest car ever.
No, they're all cheating all the time. We just only know about the times that they get caught.
So what's your theory on like whose idea Crashgate like fundamentally was? I don't think I've ever asked you this. Like
Flavio's. Come on, that has Flavio written all the fuck over it. But if you think Fernando Alonso wasn't clued in on the plan, you're actually dumb. Like, I'm sorry, he was okay. So they have to discuss like the fuel because that was in the refueling era. So like they have to. He went super light on fuel. So like, and that was kind of like a valid strategy anyway. Like given where he was, but like they're discussing that with him. They're deciding that. And also, the pit window opened, even for the light fuelers, the pit window opened lap 18. And they tell him to pit on lap 12. And he's like, no prob, and pulls right in. Fernando Alonso, if he's given a weird, he's the first person to be like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? No driver worth their salt would pit on lap 12 without at least a little bit of pushback, you know what I mean? And right, and also just the nature of the relationship between Flavio and Fernando, he absolutely fucking knew. And also they offered both drivers immunity to tell them everything that they knew. So somebody knew something. I mean, obviously not Piquet Jr., but like
so here's the real question. Like, do we think that was like a strategy, hatched on a hot Singaporean night, or was this in the back pocket for if Fernando had a shit qualify?
That's a great question. I would love to ask Flavio that. Like, when was this conceived of? Like, take me step by step. Because it's low key a brilliant plan. And again, if it weren't for those meddling kids, if it weren't for Nelson Piquet Jr. sucking at being an F1 driver, they would have gotten away with it. And they did get away with it. Like, yes, all of that should happen to Flavio, but it was overturned because Fernando absolutely testified against Flavio and the FIA wouldn't turn it over to the French courts. And it turns out when you you can't fire someone for no reason in France. And I mean, he didn't technically get fired. It's probably more legally complicated than that, but they overturned it. And ultimately now he's back. So but even if Flavio had been banned forever, Fernando still has that race win. So ultimately it worked.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, to me, the thing I sort of come back to with that is, I mean, you could do it now again fairly easily.
So easy. So easy.
You would just have somebody go long, right? Like, I mean, hell, if Ferrari were smart enough, they would have had Lewis. I mean, I guess this was changeable conditions, so you could have done it. But, like, in a sort of, Lewis crashes early, or, everybody pits, Charles stays out, pits.
Yeah.
Pits later than everybody in a drop.
But I will say, I will say, you know where it would work is Aston, because Lance isn't going to go rogue, because you do risk what happened with Nelson Piquet Jr. happening but like immediately, because I do think like the drivers are a little bit, they would just leak it immediately. And then they would maintain plausible deniability, but
in fairness, if George Russell had been a Mercedes for Abu Dhabi 2021, and it was strategically convenient for him to crash to win Lewis a championship, he would have done it in 2 seconds.
Oh my god, I should have done that. That would be so iconic. Okay, I don't want it to happen because
you know what Mercedes should have actually done. This is actually the thing. Valtteri needed to crash into the safety car.
Oh my god.
How the fuck didn't he think of that? If he crashes under the safety car, they're done.
That would be the most iconic thing a person has ever done. And Nico Rosberg found dead in a ditch. Like, for real. But, yeah, wow. I can't believe I've never.
How have I not realized that?
I can't believe I've never thought of that before either. Because, like, but.
If you're just sitting there and you see what's happening and you don't want your teammate to do it, how the hell are you not just crashing into the first thing in front of you to keep that safety car at another lap?
For the same reason that Mark Webber shoved pinned Seb up against the wall and like basically pushed him onto the grass and let Fernando overtake both of them at turn 1 in Brazil 2012, because ultimately the teammate that never wins, even if they're like as nice of a person as Valerie Bottas seems to be, ultimately they will resent that. Like, convincing an F1 driver to crash to help convincing an F1 driver to do anything to help their teammate is already an uphill battle. So I feel like that's why it doesn't happen more often. But
so what you would need is a Seb Vettel in 2020 who like, clearly adores their younger teammate.
Oh yeah. But I don't think Seb would ever. I don't think Seb is psychologically capable of doing that. If I'm honest.
He would do it for Mick. He would do it to get Mick a win if they were teammates.
No. Because Seb, he would like, that's like, he would view it as like dishonorable.
Yeah, he would view it as a desecration.
Because because he's like a little freak about Formula One. Like and also I think that he would be like, I'm doing them a disservice by like not giving them the opportunity to like do it right, you know?
No, I know you can't give the instruction on the radio. I'm saying you need to have that conversation politely in a, politely in like in break glass in case of emergency.
Oh, I think Seb would do it as a team principal. I think he's ruthless enough to. Seb would go to any lengths to ensure he won. But I don't think Seb would ever, as much as he adored Charles, I don't think he would, or Mick, I don't think he's psychologically capable of it. Although Michael did let Seb by at the end, so maybe I'm wrong, because I mean Michael Schumacher is the king of not losing and being a little bit of a brat about it when he does.
I mean, the thing about we don't talk about it because it's just sad, and like I understand why that is. I do wish we had Schumacher around because I think Nick's career would have been a lot different. But I also wonder what Ferrari looks like in a world where Schumacher is just kind of like around the paddock and like every 9 months kind of does what Prost does. Maybe not 9 months, but like every so often just does an interview being like, these people don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No, I think about that with so many of them. It's true.
Like, because Schumacher would just be around because he's like a total motorsports junkie. His kid was going into it. He'd just be in the paddock, like, as a much nicer, Jos Verstappen figure, right? Like, you just like be around and just like give interviews.
Right. Why are the only F1 patriarchs we have the worst people ever? Not you, Prost. Never you, my king.
It would be like if he was, if that hadn't happened, like we would just have him there and be like deliver like a blistering indictment of Ferrari every 18 months.
Yeah. No, Ferrari would fire Michael because they're like dumb. He could.
They'd fire him, and then he would just still show up at the paddock every so often because he's Michael Schumacher. And just like
he would have conducted a forcible takeover of Ferrari by now, if we're honest. If we're honest with ourselves.
Oh yeah, probably.
He's a Capricorn. That's what people forget.
Oh no, I do so wish. So many, just because I feel like they're all such like unhinged crazy people that like it would be amazing if there were more of them to like, and also to like continue, like we just have Damon running around unbullied now.
So what team principal do we think is gonna who do we think Ferrari's gonna have to hire to like?
It's not a team. I don't think it's a team principal problem. I think it's a whoever.
You just think that the Elkins? Do you think the Elkins are the only problem?
I think that whoever made the decision not to hire Adrian Newey is the problem, and I can't tell you definitively who that But whoever made that decision is the problem, and I'm 99% sure that it wasn't Fred. So that leaves two suspects, one of which has not been around for very long. So I would never say a bad word against the Elkin family because I don't want to be killed in my sleep the next time I go. I am going to Monza this year. But if we look to the root of the problem, well, that's the problem, is that they won't, they're incapable of change. And in order to, like, and you can't fix a problem if you're fundamentally unwilling to admit that there is one. Look at the reaction to Lewis sending a fucking memo. That's the problem. And
can we talk about the fact that, like, drivers, I mean, like, one, I would love to know what this memo looks like.
Me too. I would kill to read it.
Look, I'm sure Lewis's thoughts are great. Like, do we think it's like a memo, like in a legal sense, or do we think it's just like a bunch of notes? Like,
I think it's a I think it's however Toto Wolff communicates information. Lewis probably picked up on that because he didn't go to school, really. I mean, he probably actually did go to high school, but like they.
Like it's just probably like here are my notes on like.
It's probably the most.
And here's what I think of this, and this is what
it's probably the most normal corporate document of all time. Like, there's no.
Do we think that like this is not being communicated? Either written, either in a written form or in a voice note, all the fucking time by every driver to every team ever.
I think that at Ferrari, I think daring to do something like it's I think that different drivers have definitely tried in their own ways and have been rebuffed, and I think that Lewis sharing this information is a very interesting part of it. Now, but yes, I do think other drivers have probably attempted to do something similar, but I also think when you are so deep in the Ferrari, you're lost in the Ferrari sauce, you're probably not as harsh and objective about the problem as need to be. And Lewis is a very practical person, so I feel that his advice is probably sound. Do I think Seb's advice was probably sound? Yes. But speaking out at Ferrari can cost you greatly. But Lewis is in a position of power. Andy said it out loud, that's what makes it very interesting. Not that
he has $100 million contract and an ambassadorship that they would very much like him to
right
fulfill because they would like the stock price increase that came.
They can't fire him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if firing him was worth whatever to their stock, firing him would presumably be worth that.
And you just wait. And you just wasted. You still have to pay him.
Yeah, of course.
So but so he's in a different position.
Like, do we think because this is the thing that I come back to with Lewis and this oh my god, he wrote a memo. Like, did he have to write a memo because nobody picks up the phone? Like, I feel like I don't think George Russell has to write a memo to Toto Wolff with his ideas. I think they just have a conversation.
Yeah, I think that they're not listening. That's why he wrote it down. That's why I think Seb probably told him they don't fucking listen. So he was like, all right, I'm going to lay this out explicitly, right? I'm not doing any of this.
And she's seeing every department head and
right.
Nobody can say that the conversation I had. Whereas at Mercedes, it's just like George calls Toto, like, we need this. And then Toto tells James Allison, we need this. Done.
Right. But Ferrari, and also,
I don't think Mercedes is that complicated.
And also, well, Mercedes probably has like a functional corporate structure, which Ferrari obviously does not. Like, there's an issue somewhere along the line. I couldn't tell you what the issue is, but I also think that they.
My favorite thing about Toto.
I also think they probably are writing memos. I think this is probably a super normal thing to do. I think the reaction to it in Ferrari is telling.
Yeah, but like Toto going on Drive to Survive. This is one of the very few times that I find anything about Drive to Survive super revealing. But the fact that Toto, they like let the Drive to Survive cameras come back to the factory. They show Lewis's helmet with the skid marks on it, or they're talking about it at the very least. I don't remember if they show it. And Toto just does this like 45-second soliloquy about one of the greatest things ever was the fact that I got outvoted on the Halo because I was completely wrong about it. And I'm so glad I lost that fight. Right? And he sounds extremely sincere about it. And I think it's right after, the Monza crash and Max's car ending up on top of Lewis. Like, it's a total thing. But, like, the fact that Toto was willing to be like that publicly, I was wrong on camera, is really interesting to me. And I think that says a lot about the corporate culture at Mercedes.
Yeah.
And then, two, of course, it's Imola 22. Lewis is at the back of a DRS train and is outside the points. And Toto makes sure to come on the radio before the broadcast cuts out to say, we're sorry, Lewis, this is a shitbox, instead of waiting the literal 90 seconds until Lewis was out of the car when he could just say that to him in person. But Toto wanted to say it on the radio so Sky would play it on the radio so that Lewis, therefore, was not being slammed for a terrible performance. Whereas Fred Vasseur keeps going on about the car's fucking potential.
Well,
it's a very different corporate culture, I'm just going to say.
Right. It's also crazy. I do have to go because I need to be like semi-productive today, but it is crazy that it works. Like they're like it's just that our drivers suck, unfortunately. It's Fernando Alonso, Felipe Massa, Kimi Räikkönen, Sebastian Vettel, and now Charles, Carlos, and now Lewis all suck. They just suck. That's the problem. And when I say that to you, you're like, "Oh, that's crazy," but it's that it works. Like that's what people believe, genuinely.
Imagine believing in an institution that has achieved nothing the way people do with Ferrari. Like,
people are Yankees fans.
2007 was the last time they won a championship. There had been two teams.
Yeah, and then they fired Kimi Räikkönen 6 races later. Think about that.
I mean, everything that they've done, and then rehired him and then left him in that seat for like 7 fucking years.
Crazy.
Despite the fact that he did not win a race from his rehiring until Coda 2018, when he was already fired.
And he didn't care at all, which is why he won that championship, by the way. It's like Thor's hammer. You can't want it in order to be able to lift it.
That and because McLaren like totally shit the bed.
Yeah, Fernando had a mental breakdown. That's also part of it.
Fernando had a mental breakdown. They couldn't take that. It's funny that you always talk about 2010 and the advantage of it.
But there was no situation with Lewis and Fernando. They were actively hindering each other, blocking quali laps. Don't do that. There was no situation where like where they weren't really like taking points off each other like that. I mean, in a sense, when they were beating each other, but there was never one of them that was like definitively the one.
Yeah, that's just the unfortunate case where it's just like they are unfortunately merely too equal.
Do you think it would have been better if you told Lewis Hamilton to help Fernando, and then because he wouldn't do it, like duh, like he's just not going to do it, and now you're in that room, like.
No, like that's the thing is like 2007 is what people are like really thinking of when they think of like a,
which is funny because team orders wouldn't have worked. They couldn't get them to not actively sabotage the other in qualifying. You think they were going to get them to cooperate to do driver swaps on track? You're on drugs. Like, there's no way that would have worked. They would have said no.
But that is also like the one time that you had two teammates that good and that competitive in the same season against the third team, like, or against the third driver. Like, it is like quite literally the only example.
Well, they could have also both not binned it in Japan. No offense. I mean, Lewis was a rookie. That white line was very slippery. I don't think you can let everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. It wasn't even really his fault. What was that line even doing there? Marking the pit lane? Bullshit. Fernando flopped.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing is that like Fernando should have like 4 championships, and he just never did it because he's not like good enough. Like, that's the thing people get mad at. Like, Fernando, he was such a better driver than Seb, whatever. It's like, okay, I understand the point you think you're making, but like, Fernando is still the driver who couldn't get past Vitaly Petrov.
Never. Hashtag never forget. Hashtag never forget. That's my favorite thing to bring up in conversation other than Japan 2007. But the
Fernando couldn't get in the right cars at the right time, and Seb didn't let him get into the Ferrari. Late, when he was stuck in, McLaren with the GP2 engine. Like, yeah, it's all fine, cool, great. But he's the victim of his own thing. The
thing about Fernando is that the qualifying part of it. Not sure if people have heard qualifying is part of it, but so is, and to a great, like, this is where the true like reason Fernando never like won more than 2 is because the team element of it is part of it. Not only making the right choices, but being able to like the fact that he left McLaren in 2008, that's why he never won another championship. Not even that move just specifically, but it's so indicative of like his attitude. Like, Lewis Hamilton beat him 3 times and he was blackmailing Ron Dennis. Like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah, just be good. I'll say this about Lewis, right? Like, clearly he wanted Valtteri still to be his teammate. But
who wouldn't? Duh.
When the decision was made that it was George,
he didn't have a meltdown.
He nutted up and said, "Okay, fine," and then
and was generally positive about George.
Put his head down, drove about as well as he could have done. Cool, whatever. And then went and then looked at.
He didn't start
Leclerc's Ferrari.
He didn't start blackmailing Toto Wolff, like.
Yeah.
Or
when he decides he wants to leave Mercedes, he's like, yeah, he could have taken it easy. Nope. Charles Leclerc's Ferrari is where he decides to go. Like, this man doesn't duck teammates,
Yes.
Like,
it's because that's the thing, and like that's why, like, as much as I love.
He didn't have a meltdown when Jensen literally defending WDC.
Right.
WDC Jensen came to town.
Right.
At McLaren.
And my thing is like with like that's the thing with Seb too. Like, as much as I love Seb and I do think he is insanely talented, going to Ferrari was a choice that he made. You know what I mean? Like, and objectively, going to a place because of the color of the team is an insane and irrational career decision, which, like, live your life, girly pop, follow your dreams. Like, he seems like he's happy in the end with his alpacas, and he also has 4 world championships, so I think he'll be all right. But
I mean, in fairness,
that's part of it.
In fairness, like, it's not like staying at the Renault engine era Red Bull was a good idea.
No, but at that point, they were, in 2014, they were going to they were getting rid of Renault, but then they couldn't find another engine. So instead of doing the Red Bull powertrains thing, like they ended up doing 5 years later, they were like, we're just going to do 5 more years of this for no reason.
that is a part of Horner's legacy that we need to know.
Nobody talks about the Renault engine.
Nope.
And the Honda thing, like how sketchy is that? That Honda, I mean, we'll see how it plays out and how they do with Aston, but like Honda left, and I don't think they're having engine problems, but like Honda did really like was amazing for them and was like, we're leaving F1, but they weren't leaving F1. They just were breaking up with Red Bull. They came back 45 seconds later.
Yeah, and I mean, the rumor is that the Red Bull engine might be fourth next year.
Yeah, so if they're worse than Honda, that's a part of his legacy too. And if they're better, we're gonna pretend that it's not.
Yeah, but do we really want to pretend it's part of Laurent Mekies' legacy?
I cannot speak on that man because I have nothing kind to say.
Can we just give all the credit to Dewey?
Yeah, because he's the only one that
he has nothing to do with engines.
Yeah, sure. Why not? No, let's give it to Honda. Shout out Honda.
No, I more mean like if the Red Bull engine next year isn't completely terrible.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Somehow Adrian Dewey.
The ghost. Max actually built it himself.
Oh my god. By the way, have we heard what's going on with GP? So there 2 races he's missed.
Oh, okay. Why did I think you said T-Pain for a minute? I was like, oh my god, he did a Sims live stream. Why did you watch it? Oh yeah, I'm worried about him. I hope he's okay.
I think it was just like personal reasons for the first one, but I don't know if that I don't know.
Well, maybe there's like an illness in the family or something. You never know.
Yeah, I hope everything's okay. I just wondered if we had seen an official.
No, we don't know why. And he was at like some in between. I don't know, but hopefully he's all right. Like, usually when they don't tell you, it's like something bad. But he was one
of the great characters in F1, and
By the way, we're giving. I also want to go on the record right now and saying we're giving the Sauber credit to Jonathan Wheatley and not that rat bastard Mattia Binotto. Right now, on the record.
It pisses you off. Yeah, but it pisses you off whenever I say something that's about Binotto, and that is my job in this dynamic.
I hate. And I don't use the word hate lightly. I hate that man. For no good reason too. Really, truly over sporting matters. And like, that's wrong of me. I know it. But
what happens if Audi just comes out and wins Australia next year?
Do we know who's driving for them?
I believe it's supposed to be the same roster as the stake this year, I think. I don't think they're changing. I mean, I think Bortoletto has a 1-year deal, but I think he's done enough to earn a 2nd year.
Then I root for Bortoletto because I also hate Nico Hülkenberg for no reason.
Have we talked about the sprint calendar yet?
Is it what sprint calendar?
Oh, you didn't see it. It got leaked on Twitter.
What ones are there?
So it's China, Miami, Canada, Zandvoort, something in Singapore.
I think I might go to Spa next year. Maybe not though.
So no. Oh, it's Silverstone. So it's. Oh God, let's see if I can.
That'll be good.
China, Miami, Canada, Silverstone, Zandvoort, Singapore are the 6 sprints. No interlagos.
I've detached myself from the concept of a sprint. It doesn't exist to me.
I just would like you to focus on the word I am saying to you. There was going to be a Singapore sprint weekend.
All of the sprint. There's going to be a Miami sprint weekend. Miami is so much worse.
Yeah, but Miami's fine. I don't care about Miami. A Singapore sprint weekend.
How is that worse than any other sprint weekend? at a bad track.
You can't pass in Singapore.
You can't pass anywhere on these. You can't pass in Miami.
But at least in theory, the new cars are going to allow you to pass. And there's Australia in Miami.
Oh, great. I get to watch a DRS overtake on the main street by 30 seconds.
No, because remember, DRS is being eliminated. You get to watch a bomb overtake.
That will be F1. Never stop. Never change. Be yourself. Because of course your stupid thing would be called mom. But anyway,
Never stopping F1.
I love it. I love them so much. It's like when the grass keeps catching on fire. I'm like, of course we have a grass catching on fire problem. That is absolutely something that would happen in Formula One. No, serial grass catching on fire problem. Like
in multiple countries.
That's actually a good point about the practice at Singapore. Why not? I hate the sprints. I'm already at maximum hate, so I'm with you.
No, I like a sprint weekend.
It's because you're
Canada sprint will be fun.
I bet you decorate for Christmas before Thanksgiving.
Well, no, because
oh, you guys have a different Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because our Thanksgiving is the beginning of October, but also no, I don't. So I don't. Like, if Christmas were abolished tomorrow, I wouldn't care. Just give me the time off, anyways. But like, if I had to do nothing to celebrate this time off, I'd be fine with it.
You don't appreciate decor. Come on, it's fun. I wish we had more theme. Like, I wish I had more holidays that were socially acceptable to decorate for.
So what you're saying is that your children are going to be the house. Your future children are going to be the ones who have the house that is like completely fucking that shit for Halloween.
No, I believe in a tasteful exterior. I don't fuck with the blow up toys. I don't, but I will be running Christmas like we are in the Navy as my mother did before me. Listen.
So are you going to be the ones hosting the extended family?
Oh, yeah. My brother doesn't want to do that, Cher. Are you kidding me?
Are you going to be, okay, so are you going to, like, what's your take on the in-laws coming, like, on both sides of the family, just one massive Christmas?
I like that because here's the thing. I worry that I can never get married because I'm supposed to live in a house with another person. Don't love the idea of that. But also, I'm not going to hang out with your family for Christmas or whatever. Like I'm going to, I want to go home.
You want to be so you just want like 22 people. Yeah, God, you really are Boston as fuck.
Yes. And like you have to there is we do the same. We have cinnamon rolls and cranberry mimosas in the morning, and then we obviously watch football. And my mom cooks, and if you go in the kitchen, she throws a knife at you. And but we make the cookie. This is also like the most insane thing my mother ever did, but like she's a good parent, I swear. But when we were little, so we make the roll flat like sugar cookies, and then we decorate them with royal icing. But like my mom is like good at decorating them, and I am also, I would like to say, pretty good at decorating them. My brother didn't pick up the skill as much. She puts out a plate of cookies for Christmas every year, and she was not giving any pity entries to the plate. Let's just put it that way. She would put one of each of ours out. We would always get one, which I think is loving of her. I can't personally imagine making that sacrifice, but like I don't have kids. You know what I mean? You love your kids. But don't have kids. You know what I mean? You love your kids. But other than that, there were no pity entries to the plate, and there was very much an A plate and a B plate. Let me just say that. One year, I got 3 cookies on the A plate, so not to brag, but.
Oh my God. You would make a great. You will, in 50 years, you will make a great matriarch as a family.
I will. Because I love planning shit. Like, I love that. It's because I'm a control freak. So.
You've never.
What?
You've never watched Gilmore Girls, have you?
No, I don't like her, Rory.
The funny thing is that they accidentally made a like real cautionary tale of what happens if you're coddled in life.
Yes.
And never told no, except they definitely did not realize that's what they were making as they were making the show.
No.
You would make a great Emily Gilmore.
Yes, I've seen the clips. I do. That is goals in life. That and to be actually, I would say my number one goal in life is to be a pigeon lady. Like, you know, the old ladies in the park that like feed the pigeons and talk to them and shit. Dream.
I don't know what I expected from you other than that sentence. But you know what? You always deliver.
That and to own a Christmas tree farm. I, for some reason, have always wanted to do that, but that wouldn't.
Is that just because of the Taylor Swift song?
No, it's because there's this really, really cute Christmas tree farm kind of by where I live that we always went to growing up, and I would be like, and I was like, what a fun job. And also, you only have to work like a month a year, which obviously isn't true because you have to like grow the Christmas trees. But
If you were to buy that Christmas tree farm, would you invite Taylor Swift to make a music video for her Christmas tree?
I don't think Taylor Swift. Probably not, because I don't think Taylor Swift is answering my emails, if I'm honest.
But like, what if she does? What if you could get a tree pain response to it?
That would be awesome. I would love for Taylor Swift to make a music video on my Christmas tree farm. That would be a dream. Taylor Swift could ask anything of me. She'd be like, hey, could you kill this person for me? And I'd be like, in honor, ma'am. Not really, but she was like, I want to film your apartment. I'd be like, okay.
Is there anybody who has a funnier existence publicly than True Ben? Just her entire job is just putting out really iconic memos, like statements to the press every like 3 years, and then just like telling People Magazine to go fuck themselves privately.
Yeah, the signing all of her stuff tree is iconic.
But like I want to be excluded from this narrative is an iconic quote. And then the statement she gave about the Justin Baldoni lawsuit, where she was like, Taylor was not a part of any of this, and she honestly didn't even get to see this movie for like a month because, you know, she was too busy being an actual success. You know? Even though, like, she was, I don't know, she was still like, that was the European Lights of the tour, I guess. Yeah. But it's just like iconic shit from Tree Band. It's iconic. I love that woman so much, and I don't give a single shit about Taylor Swift. But I just love Tree Band.
She is great. She is great. No, I mean,
you need to be semi-productive.
Yes. I will let you go, but great race weekend. We love you, Spa. Shout out Nico Rosberg.
I'm good next week. The McLarens will be 3 seconds a lap faster than everybody else, but you know what? We will survive.
That is true. All right. See ya. Okay, I'm gonna end this.